All right. This is an unusual Carolina weather group. We have severe weather uh, moving into the area. Let me get a couple things squared away here. We're coming live to you. Uh, really, a very busy evening about to uh, about to unfold, and we're going to be here with you for this. We now have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Charleston and Berkeley counties. So we're going to go ahead and let's get over to the radar once I can get some of this. I have some stuff I need to get off of here. But in the meantime, we need folks to be, pretty ready to move into their to move into a safe place for potential for severe storms. So yeah, let's go to the radar. But it would help if I had the other source up first. So we'll do that now. Um, Basically, what we are dealing with tonight is we are dealing with a line of thunderstorms that's moving southwest across the area. A little weird, but it's nasty, and we're going to need to dig into this, and we may be here for a while. So here we go. Here we go, folks. Here is the. So first of all, let's take this out to the Carolinas view. We have a massive severe thunderstorm watch in effect, and this goes until midnight. And this includes the vast majority of the Charleston metro area, really a lot of South Carolina. And there's a ton of wind damage reports coming in with a line here. 70-mile-an-hour gusts are possible with this, as these storms move in. So we need folks to be very, very careful here. And again, just getting everything squared away here for a coverage. But yeah, we have very large, very strong line of thunderstorms moving into a very primed and unstable atmosphere. It's been hot, and when you get that kind of warmth, you can get pretty decent. Instability to develop, and when you have that, a lot can go wrong. And so we're going to need to watch this throughout the day. I'm going to put my dinner over there because here we go. All right, so let's go ahead and just let's go ahead and dive into this. Let's go to the reflectivity. Which radar did I use? And I think I'm using the wrong one. Yep. So we're going to switch to. Let's go ahead and use KILM. Or no, that's not a NextRad site. Stand by. Let's use CLX here, and let's turn the measure tool off, and we can see here just a very, very strong line of storms right now getting through King Street into Georgetown. Again, 70-mile-an-hour gusts are possible with this. So St. Stephen, Moncks Corner, Ondaw, in these areas, we need folks to be getting into their safe place. Not necessarily a real tornado warning issue, but at the same time, these are going to produce quite a bit of wind damage. I'm actually going to take a second here. We're going to overlay the storm reports on this, and so we have several of these reports of large trees down. I'll get out of the I'll get myself out of the way here. Reports of large trees down. Winds gusting to 54, 55, 60 miles an hour at times. So again, we are going to be dealing with this over the next hour. And right now it's calm outside. There's not much going on, but but the King Street could beg to differ. It was really bad in Myrtle Beach a little while ago. That is starting to get a little bit better, but still plenty of heavy rain there, and plenty of lightning too. But this bit of convection here is going to head down towards St. Stephen and Moncks Corner. And so we need to be watching that very closely. Sorry, I'm just typing and texting and doing all sorts of things all at the same time, because that's what happens when we get into this situation. Yeah, so we want folks to be inside and away from windows. There's a lot of lightning. There's a lot of uh, heavy rain, probably some hail in this, if I had to guess. But again, as we zoom in here from King Street to Andrews, uh, right now, let's do a little bit of road labeling here. Here's State Highway 527. Let's get some of the main ones. State Highway 377 and 261. That's where we have really just the nastiest of it at this point. And again, looking at the radar, there is a chance that coastal areas may end up being a little bit better off, but I wouldn't count on it. Again, the concern is for 70-mile-an-hour winds as this line of storms gets closer. Again, right now, there's nothing on the radar here in Charleston, but we see that flashing yellow polygon, and that tells you considerable damage is possible and 70-mile-an-hour winds are possible. So we'll need folks to be, on guard for this. Taking shelter is needed. And a big reason why we do have a question about, why the storms are moving this way, and really there is an upper low that's sitting to our south, and the flow around the upper low and the high pressure that has been giving us, these just ridiculously heavy, horribly hot temperatures now for the better part of the last few days. That's broken down and retreated a little bit. And so that flow between those is helping drive these thunderstorms southwest. So yeah, it's a little weird. It's a little different, but that's what's happening. So again, really the main threat right now, and you can see this flashing yellow polygon here. We don't normally show the flashing polygon, but that means that 70-mile-an-hour winds are possible. Monk's Corner, Goose Creek, Hugie, Awendaw, McClellanville, down to Mount Pleasant. This doesn't yet take Charleston proper in, but it's only a matter of time before we get a warning in this area too. So again, if you're in these spots, start battening down the hatches. You have a little bit of time, and you can get some of your things inside. If you have any loose objects, trash cans, recycling bins, things like that, get that stuff inside, because this line of storms is going to move fairly quickly. Now, again, we have it timed out about, we got some arrival times here. So again, Monk's Corner around 8:33. So again, we have a little bit of time. Looks like it's going to get to St. Stephen around 8:26. North Charleston about 9 o'clock. Charleston proper about 9:10. So again, we have some time. We're just going to be here for a bit as we watch this. And again, we don't normally go live for severe thunderstorm warnings, but with the widespread damage reports that we've had, the time of night and the unusual and the unusual and the usual suspects here, we are concerned about this, and so we're going to hang here for a little while to talk this through. So again, very strong winds, 60 to 70 miles an hour potentially, that are going to move into Monk's Corner and Goose Creek here in the next hour. And again, we don't normally see warnings issued this far out, but this is a rare case, and this is a case where we need to be, very cautious with these. And again, the main and the thinking is that we are going to have enough energy to sustain these storms as they get closer. I'm going to go grab another view real quick, and let me do that. So one of the views that I'm looking at here is this. Let's do mix layer. And all right, cool. So we're going to switch to this is kind of it looks like a splash of paint behind me. I promise you there's coherence to this, but this is the instability. A little bit less mixed layer instability around the coast. So hopefully, that doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to be hanging in there, but there is plenty of instability available ahead of this storm, even as the sun is starting to go down. And so with all of that in mind, we do have questions. Is like, uh, is this going to hit West Ashley, for example? We've had questions about that. Yes, it certainly looks like this is going to hold together. There's always that chance that that this more limited instability behind the sea breeze could put the kibosh on some of that. There are some signals in the radar data, which we'll go back to here, um, that could be the case. Um, and you can see. Let me zoom in a little bit on Georgetown. We'll talk about this. So again, they're in the warning, but it's a little bit weaker. Let me get myself off of here real quick, so you can see. You can see that there are stronger storms off the coast and stronger storms inland, and then a strong storm over Georgetown. But what we're looking at here is um, basically, there may be something to that, but we don't want folks necessarily getting, too comfortable with that idea either. Um, Again, there's a reason why the warnings are going all the way to the coast and then some, because we are seeing very gusty winds at the coast with these. Um, so again, yes, it's not here right now, but it's coming. And it does look like, based off of all of the available data, just got off of a briefing with the Weather Service to quickly recap the situation. And sure enough, the main concern there is that this is indeed going to hold together and could cause some problems, especially as we get up into northern Berkeley. And as we let me take the radar back full here, and I'll kind of show you what. Nope, that's not the one. That's not it. There we go. I don't know why that wasn't on the front screen. Anyway, that's fine. But you see this really just intense line of storm, this really intense cluster of thunderstorms here around Kingstree and Lane. This is inbound for St. Stephen, Jamestown here pretty soon. So again, right now, this is going to make its move on Berkeley County here in the next 15 minutes or so. And you see, again, a lot of lightning. Lightning counter is about 1,600 strikes or so. We get updates on the radar every couple minutes. You can see that there's some purple working in there too. And so there's possibly maybe some melting hail in that as well. Hail is not going to be as big of a threat, but it is certainly something that we can see. But again, the vast majority of the issues are going to be with damaging wind gusts. And as we zoom in here, St. Stephen right now, this looks like this is destined for you in the next 15 minutes or so. So again, we have the line of storms here. It's on the way, and so we are fully we're fully concerned about the potential for wind damage, and we have had many reports coming in behind the line of that. And let me see if I can't get our storm reports up real quick. And I do want to talk about that. Let me get that out, and let me see here. LSRs, perfect. So here are your storm reports as of 7:57. I actually put these go back only a certain amount of time, so we can actually animate this and see the progression of the damaging winds and hail that are moving down the coast. And again, these are reports that have been put out by the Weather Service offices. Sometimes they're delayed because the Weather Service offices are very busy. They're working very hard to try and understand the situation on the ground and issue warnings. And so that's something that we have to take into account as well. So again, a lot of lightning, and I know that we've been focused on the Charleston metro for the most part for right now, but we have a second line segment coming down from Winnsboro, and this is going to head into Columbia. This Winnsboro line is capable of 70-mile-an-hour winds. The Columbia warning is only for 60-mile-an-hour winds, but that can always be upgraded. this is this is particularly nasty, and again, this could get into the Columbia metro about 9:15, 9:30. So we're dealing with some strong thunderstorms, strong to severe thunderstorms, um, really on the heels of this, and all over the state today, which is a little different for summer, but lots of clusters of storms moving across. And so, and again, this is not something, we normally are dealing with things like this in like a springtime situation, but we've been baking for days. The atmosphere has been charging up. It's been getting ready to rumble, and rumble it shall. Um, so, so again, let me take the wide view here. Um, there's your satellite and radar composite, as well as the severe thunderstorm watch, and you can see there's that line of storms just barreling down the coast, and also into Colombia. So again, there could be an enhanced corridor of severe weather too, just to the west of 95, where these clusters converge, and so that's another thing that we're going to have to keep a close eye on, for some of our folks who are more inland. Uh, so there you go. I mean, it's one of those days, and that's just that's just the kind of situation that we're dealing with. So again, severe thunderstorm watch is out until midnight. This has been recently expanded to include the rest of the South Carolina Low Country. So all of South Carolina is under this severe thunderstorm watch right now. So all of South Carolina is under a severe thunderstorm watch. If you are in South Carolina, congratulations, you are under a severe thunderstorm watch. There are several other potential things that could happen in North Carolina too. North Carolina has already had a lot of these storms move by, but it may not be done just yet. So again, going back to the satellite and radar composite here, we'll clear out that info box as we get up, take a peek over here, starting to see, that sea breeze. There's apparently some time for atmospheric recovery, because we're starting to see that sea breeze ignite here north of New Bern in far eastern North Carolina. These are sub-severe right now, but we'll see what happens. The severe thunderstorm watch, this is just outside of the severe thunderstorm watch box. But again, the rule with severe thunderstorm watches is severe thunderstorms are possible in and near the severe thunderstorm watch box. Just because you're not in the box doesn't mean you can't get anything. The box just represents the most likely area for severe storms. So that's certainly, something that is going to continue to be monitored. And that's why we still have the severe thunderstorm watch in effect in much of North Carolina. Raleigh is like, hey, the weather's over. Well, they're hanging on to it because there are other clusters of storms that could make a run. We're watching a couple of them come out of Virginia. Hopefully, hopefully the trends hold up where those continue to weaken. That would certainly be a good thing, but we can't count on that. So again, just watching these storms, just continuing to press southward very quickly here. They're moving at a good clip. They're moving about 30 miles an hour to the southwest. And again, the main concern at the moment is for is for the risk for significant damaging wind. Is really the main issue here that we are dealing with. We are not as concerned about a tornado threat. So something, there's the wind shear is not great. This is very driven by the heat of the day and just the warm and moist atmosphere that we're dealing with in general. But this is not a situation that is necessarily conducive for tornadoes. So, if there's any good news in this, that's it. But we don't want to poo-poo that either. We don't want to poo-poo strong straight line winds, because that cluster of thunderstorms means business. Let's go to the velocity view. And again, we normally only show this in tornado situations, but the velocity view can be illuminating as we look at the straight line winds aloft. Now, this is not necessarily what's reaching the ground. And right now we have some winds headed towards the radar around 63. Let's see, 54, and this is around. What's the altitude on this? Let's measure distance. Let's measure from RDA, and so again, this is at about 6,600 feet as we use that. So again, this is a little bit higher up into the storm, and the way these things set up is that basically these storms they fire up, they collapse, and they create downburst winds. It's not your typical organized thunderstorm complex that we are used to. So, but those are respectable numbers. We can also use another product that attempts to approximate the straight line wind threat. And right now, from the Charleston radar, 50 to 58 miles an hour seems to be the key here. But again, we're moving into a good bit of untapped atmosphere with even more extreme instability found further to the southwest. And so I expect to see this kind of tick up a little bit. This straight line wind threat begin to tick up a little bit, especially as we get closer into Berkeley County. So again, if you're in Monk's Corner, Goose Creek, especially St. Stephen around Lake Moultrie and Lake Marion, Cross, you're in the line of fire here. I would be getting ready. I would be, getting prepared to get away from the windows for a little bit, honestly, because these things could, they could pack a punch. And, we want folks to be, very cautious of that. These are pretty nasty on reflectivity. They're looking pretty nasty on velocity. We don't have a really good view towards the ground. We can only see about 6,000 feet up in Williamsburg and Berkeley. As they get closer to the radar, we'll get a better idea. But again, St. Stephen, Jamestown, Bono, McClellanville, Monk's Corner, Hugie, Allendale, Goose Creek, Mount Pleasant, and Daniel Island are all in this warning. And this warning this warning is going to go until 8:45, but that's just a formality. I think that there will be an additional warning issued ahead of this, especially as we start to get reports that come in. And so this is a place where y'all can help us out too. Is let us know what you're seeing. When it's safe, if you see any damage, if you see any trees down, power outages, things like that, that's all really helpful for us. We can relay that information to the Weather Service, so they have a good idea as the radar operator is trying to make warning decisions. So again, this is a place where y'all can help us. And so, if you're watching us on YouTube, we have the chat there. I have the Charleston Weather Instagram up right now. So we have the chat there, keeping an eye on that too. Got lots and lots of things I'm looking at. So, you can help, and you can help us understand what's happening on the ground, because no radar can tell us what's happening on the ground. So that's important. So again, ETAs on the line. Let me do a manual track here. If pardon me for just a second, I got to get the manual tracking up, and we'll draw a manual track here. They had it. Nope, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. Yeah, the click and drag. I promise I can read instructions. But yeah, we'll kind of just do it like that, and we will move it to the storm motion vector that's listed there is not correct. Move it about 30 miles an hour to the southwest, and these are your arrival times for the Charleston Metro. Again, 8:26 for St. Stephen. That's honestly 8:41 for Monk's Corner, 9:06 for Wando, 9:08 for Goose Creek, 9:11 for Somerville. So again, in the 9 o'clock hour, much of the Charleston Metro proper will be in this, and I fully expect these severe thunderstorm warnings to be extended southward. St. Stephen, this is right on you at this point. St. Stephen, Jamestown, these areas, this is right on you. I'll clear that track, and we'll dive in. There's the latest scan from the radar here, and we'll actually turn on a mode that lets us see live updates from the radar as time goes on. We'll get the sweep coming around every 90 seconds or so, and yeah, so St. Stephen, there you go. Jamestown. Let me go back to the double box here so we can take a better look at that. So Jamestown, those areas, certainly certainly a concern uh, getting into Berkeley County. So again, if we label some roads here, you're probably already starting to feel it up in St. Stephen. So again, here's Highway 45, and this is Highway 52, as you can see here. We keep the and here's this is also Highway 45 right here. So again, Highway 45 down 52, 17A. These areas, this is where we are really expecting your weather to start getting somewhat gnarly here right about now. And again, this is on the way to Monk's Corner within the next half hour. This is on the way to the Charleston Metro in the next 45 minutes. If you're spending the night out on Lake Moultrie, if you're out there right now, it's time to go in. It's going to be too dangerous to be on the water. It's going to be too dangerous to do. You're going to deal with, you see the lightning alone that's showing up here, and there's plenty of that, and that is also very dangerous. Every thunderstorm is dangerous because of the lightning they produce. So that's a good rule of thumb that I like to keep in mind as we go. So we'll go back to, we'll put me in the corner, we'll put me in the spotlight, losing my meteorological religion. And you can see here, there's Highway 45, getting a new scan right now. You can see that kind of pulsation there, and you can see that live update from the radar. Some there's certainly some hail in this, very likely some hail in this that'll move in as well. But again, that's the secondary concern. It's been so hot that the hail won't be able to sustain a very large size, melting through the atmosphere. Again, it's currently 85 at Charleston, which is certainly off of where we were, but we're still at 90 in Somerville. We're still at 86 in Monk's Corner. So there's plenty of there's plenty to work with here as far as moisture and instability. And again, the instability situation ahead of this remains very, very significant. So Cassett, South Carolina, getting hammered right now, and not in a fun way. I am not surprised by that in the slightest. It is pretty nasty out here. And what we'll do is I'm going to switch back to this, and I'm going to clear the roads. I'm going to take the labels off because we have more places to talk about. We absolutely have a lot of weather to talk about. And let's take the wide view here, put this into motion. There's your satellite and radar composite. You can see the line of thunderstorms that we've been spending a lot of time on beginning to sink southward. Colombia, you're also about to get into the mess here very shortly. And we see the line of storms beginning to get into places like Blythewood and Camden and Winnsboro. We're gonna just start launching a bunch of additional radars over here. So this might get upset with me for a minute, but it'll get over it. Just a ton of lightning too. If you take a look at the lightning counter up there, we're getting like 5,000 strikes just within this view, and that's just in the last 20 minutes. So there you go. And we've gotten, looks like there is a shelf cloud emanating from the front of this, which suggests to me that there is a pretty decent, there is very likely a decent bit of wind that's going to come along with it. So let me get my windows together here. And what we'll do is take that to 1. And that's not Colombia. Hang on a second. That's Colombia. That's the one I want. All right, cool. And then 1, and it looks like I'm not getting any radar data out of Colombia. So that's not good. That's a problem. So this may be the best I can do. Was hoping to get a higher resolution look at the stuff that was coming in from Colombia, but this may be the best I can do right now is the composite from Charleston and from Greenville Spartanburg. So again, Winnsboro to Newberry, severe thunderstorm warning in effect. This is also going to get into Columbia here in the next 30 to 45 minutes, it looks like. Yeah, the lightning is going to be going off. It's Harry and Newberry. It's if that didn't have such a bad connotation, it'd be a great slogan. Certainly in there. So yeah, a lot didn't seem to have much wind, but a big shelf around there, and we're hearing that there's a shelf cloud now moving into Monk's Corner as well. So certainly something that we'll be watching. The shelf cloud itself is not necessarily a sign that something is damaging or destructive. We see them a lot, but certainly that gives you an idea of the winds aloft and how that's going. So again, here's the situation. There's Jamestown, there's St. Stephen's getting started there right now. The lightning is starting to pop around Jedburgh, and this should, again, this cluster is the main concern area at this point. Let me take myself. Let me do a couple things here. So take that radar only real quick, and really, what I am noticing, the trend that I am noticing, is that the worst of the weather, at least right now, where did I put that? There we go, is going to be kind of in this corridor here. It looks like that's where the core of the line is going to be. And so you'll note that, Charleston proper, there's not a lot going on, not a lot of convection happening, around Georgetown, really heading into Charleston County. We do have one storm, kind of one lone storm here. But really right now, it looks like the main concern is going to be for central Berkeley and is going to be much of Berkeley County, and this is going to get into Dorchester County too. Dorchester's not in the warning yet, but again, if you're St. George, Somerville, those areas, I'd be watching this. I'd be watching this. This is still putting out plenty of lightning, plenty of wind energy with it, and is something that we're going to need to watch closely. And again, we'll need to keep an eye out, see what happens at the coast. Right now, the warning does extend all the way to the coast, and there's a reason for that. There's certainly the potential that we could see things begin to blossom back up. But the focus is getting over Lake. The focus of this, the core of this line, is getting over Lake Marion, St. Stephen, those areas, and that's actually pretty much in line with what we've been seeing with from the models the last day or so. Is that this is kind of how, honestly, this is kind of how we expected it to go down, and it certainly seems like that's the way that this is going down. So let me get to another spot here real quick. I want to see GSP. I want to see number one, the old number one, and I want to see the reflectivity. Am I really not getting any radar data out of here either? Let me restart polling. Let's see what I can get here. There we go. All right, that's more like it. So maybe I can get Colombia now. Sorry, y'all. I'm just working through data issues as usual. Seems like a standard operating procedure. There's Colombia. All right, let's take a closer look here. Let's take a closer look at Colombia, and we'll get back to Charleston here in a minute. But yeah, there's an outflow boundary here. There's an outflow boundary moving through St. Matthews, and these are going to combine. And I think that we're going to see a decent eruption of thunderstorms between I-20 and I-95. And so So again, in this area here, there's one outflow, there's a second outflow. And so, really in the Orangeburg County, Bamberg County, in this corridor here, I have a feeling that things could get busy. Um, Weather Service is continuing the severe thunderstorm warning for Berkeley and Charleston, which makes sense. 70 miles an hour, 70-mile-an-hour winds still the concern. Um, really, no updates to that, so that makes sense given the history of wind damage that this has produced across the PD. But the outflow from these storms is getting into Colombia, and this is going to ignite new thunderstorms. Again, this is an area that has plenty of instability. We'll go back to that view here real quick. And, that instability is very, very strong. You get into these purples and then these dark ones here that gets very, very strong. Kind of where those outflow boundaries are colliding. So we could still see some pretty strong storms beginning to get going here. Let's take a look at just a second, folks. I'm just go back to this view here of Columbia. Yeah, so Blythewood, Camden. Remember, Newberry, it's getting past you in Newberry. We do have a couple reports of damage behind it. Trees down, a metal roof blown off of a barn on Azure Road near Winsboro. Tree down on Dave Jenkins Road near Blair. And it's still 91 and 93 Columbia. So there's plenty of energy available for these Columbia storms. So we need to be, we just need to be on our guard here as we go. So let's get back to Charleston, and we now have the thunderstorms moving into Berkeley County. They're here. So Jamestown, St. Stephen, those areas, if you know folks up there, I'd be really interested to hear how things are going. And again, we got a little bit of time, but you're running out of time soon. Monk's Corner. So again, if you have loose stuff outside, this is you're kind of getting into kind of your last chance there. If you're inside, you're fine. I want to make sure, if you're inside, if you're in a townhome, if you're in a solid structure, you're fine. This is a straight line wind threat, certainly. It could be an enhanced straight line wind threat, and there could be issues. And so we want you kind of away from the windows, I think is a good idea. If we can do that, I think that, you'll be fine. I mean, again, this is nothing we can't handle. It's just, it's just one of those things that this is a little bit of an unusual direction, but it's not unusual to have severe storms in the summer, as we all know. And but we want to, we're just trying to keep a close eye on this and do our best with it. So again, St. Stephen right now getting into Bono and northern parts of Lake Moultrie. This stretches into Jamestown. This stretches and really kind of, I don't want to say falls apart, but it certainly, when you get to Highway 17, it certainly drops off. That may be a good thing for, those of us, Charleston Metro, maybe West Ashley. We'll see. Again, there's a lot going on here. And if we take the, let me go to 1 and minimize that here, and I'm going to take the Charleston analyst here. So let's take a higher resolution look at this as well. This is a little bit more of a sensitive color table, so we can see, so we can see that, so we can see what's going on, and a couple things that I got to note here. Your sea breeze is from Statesboro to Newington up to St. George. So there's your sea breeze. And then the outflow from the thunderstorm, this is essentially the radar view of the shelf cloud, is coming out of Monk's Corner and will be approaching Somerville. And so again, we could see some interaction between this outflow and that sea breeze, and we could, and again, I'm expecting up in the Orangeburg area to see thunderstorms begin to quickly pop. And again, the winds are going to begin to pick up. I got a report out of McClellanville that the wind was starting to pick up there. I'm not surprised by that. The outflow is coming through there. And there's a good bit of wind apparently taking place well ahead of the line. So the wind is going to arrive well ahead of any thunderstorms. So is what it looks like. So I think that is something that we're going to need to keep a close eye on here. Cool. All right, so let's we still have, and the other thing to note is that we still have decent thunderstorms ongoing in the Charlotte metro. And let me switch to TCLT. And let me get that. I'm just configuring a couple things here. Turn that off. And we still have some decent thunderstorms up in the Charlotte metro here. So let's take that full. And and that is that's looking pretty good. What we've got a dash cam up from this is James Brierton out in Charlotte.
I'm following a propane truck. I'm giving it some space
right now, and not looking too terribly bad, but there's certainly some showers and thunderstorms continuing to pop behind. Even this, even after everything that came through here, and they had, there were several reports of damage that took place in the Charlotte metro. So again, using the terminal Doppler, which doesn't do the best job of punching through the rain, but it gives us the idea. Showers and thunderstorms moving south through Matthews into Fairview, Unionville, and this is moving into Fort Mill and Point South. So we got an eye on the dash cam right now from Charlotte. So far, nothing too crazy. But it's a nice and smooth dash cam. So just watching that drive there. So we're going to keep an eye on that. I'm going to have that available for us. Let me see if I can't not mess with that. Let's so we're going to keep that. And I think James is getting gas. All right. So James is getting gas. We're going to let him get gas in peace. And I'm going to go ahead and we'll let him get gas, and I'll be back to his stream here shortly. But let me take I'm going to take this back full here, and let's get back to Charleston. The Charleston area and the Columbia area, as well as we have. That's where some of the most severe weather is moving in right now. So again, here's a look at Berkeley County. Starting to hear from folks that you're starting to see the lightning, maybe even hear some thunder, and that's not surprising. This is it's a prolific one. Again, Somerville, you're not in it yet, but it's it's coming. There's wind. There's plenty of wind on the end of it. Getting reports from the emergency manager in Berkeley County that the wind is really starting to pick up in Moncks Corner now. And the rain is not that far behind. Here's the metro view of Moncks Corner. There's Cane Bay down there. Here's 52, 17A, 17A, 52, up to Bono. It's just going to get really hairy here in the next little bit. So, it's going to get hairy here fairly shortly. And again, there is a concern for 70-mile-an-hour winds coming out of this. So that's that's nothing to shake a stick at by any stretch of the imagination. Let's go back to Colombia, and we have the severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for the Columbia metro. As I guess I can't do that. All right. And move that here just so I have a little bit of a better look. And it looks like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning. Yeah, this I had a feeling that they would do this, and they've done it. The Weather Service in Colombia has issued a new severe thunderstorm warning that takes in St. Matthews, Orangeburg, and Wagoner. This is areas point south of Colombia, and this is where we should see additional thunderstorms instigate and produce damaging wind gusts. So I'm expecting additional storms to fire in this area and continue on that southwest southwest trajectory here. So I'm just moving some things around real quick and trying to get a look at. All right, so all right, we have a new special weather statement that's out for the Charleston Metro to call out some of this. And again, the winds ahead of it, the winds ahead of the line could be about 50 miles an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch back over real quick, and we'll talk about we'll talk about where that is. And so let me position this a little bit better for y'all. As you can see, maybe I'll take myself out of the frame. Maybe I'll double box myself. So here's the special weather statement. And again, this is for winds well ahead of the line. And again, there's a concern for 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts well ahead of the line. This is enough that can put down a couple trees. And so we have, we're monitoring that, and and just continuing to keep close tabs on that. And then, and so North Charleston, Mount Pleasant, Somerville, Goose Creek, Hanahan, St. George, really much of the Charleston Metro could be seeing some some gusty winds well ahead of the line. So when the winds come up, and they could come up fairly soon, and we may be able to give you a projection of that, actually, now that I think about it, because we're smart here and we have the higher resolution radar available to us. So let's do exactly that. And zoom in. And so it's hard to make out, but if I put myself back in the corner, looks like looks like the outflow is starting to stretch from Holly Hill through. Looks like it's about to get into the Carnes Crossroads area, Goose Creek. We're starting to get reports of trees down. We're starting to get reports of trees down in Bono, in St. Stephen, and even some power lines on fire in Panopolis. So that's with the main cluster storms. But again, we're going to see some winds kick up well ahead of this. It's crossing 176 now. So Somerville, those areas, I would get ready. The wind is going to start coming up, and then thunderstorms are going to arrive after that. And the white polygon is the special weather statement for 50-mile-an-hour winds. The yellow polygon is the severe thunderstorm warning for the potential for 60 to 70-mile-an-hour winds. So again, we're going to keep a close eye on this, and again, I'm doing my best to manage a lot of incoming right now. So I definitely appreciate everybody's patience here. Some really great shelf cloud photos here. Wow, that's impressive. Yeah, I'm looking at it on the iPad right now. I don't really have a good way to get the iPad up here, I don't think. I don't have that installed. That's too bad. I'll try and see if I can't get some of that here. This is just really impressive. It's just really, really, really impressive shelf cloud showing up. So again, the main concern is going to be damaging wind gusts, and we may be in the storms for a while. The worst of it will be getting through while we're awake, but there's rain behind it, and there could, we can't rule out a few additional storms before it's all said and done. Although this should be enough to work everything over pretty nicely too. So there's tracking the outflow again, Holly Hill, Somerville, and Wando. This is the area of concern, and let's see. I'm going to try and get this photo up here for you guys, and let's yeah, this is really impressive here. So give me just a second as I see. I should be able to. I'll just do the old school screen share here. Oh man, that's too bad. Oh no, I'm not going to be able to use that. Allow later. I don't want to quit and reopen. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll figure that out. No, I'll figure something out with that, because I would like to show this to you, because it is it's interesting, that's for sure. And let me just add a preview window. The name is already in use. Window capture. All right, here we go. So I'm going to switch to this, and we'll take a look. Whoa, that is not what that is supposed to look like at all. Okay. Don't know why it's that big. And then let's see here. Transform fit to screen. Let's try that. All right, so let's try this again. This is from Connor Reed. He sent this to me over on X, and this is in Monk's Corner. That is quite the shelf cloud there, showing up in Monk's Corner. And we're getting reports now that, again, it's starting to get, it's getting nasty in the creek, and I'm not surprised by that in the slightest. That is exactly what I expect to be happening at this point. Let's do that. And so yeah, we'll transition back. Let's get back to the radar here, and let's get back to the storm tracker. The storm tracker radar here. Now starting to see the line of storms get into Monk's Corner. It is looking a little bit weaker on that, but I caution us against too much complacency. There's your outflow winds that are ahead of it. There's still some decent winds coming in there. Wind threat still topping out about 58 miles an hour. So hopefully, with any luck, that we'll be able to get away without the really nasty stuff. But that's something that we're going to need to continue to monitor here. So again, the velocity view. This will take a second, I think. Nope. Let's try this again. All right. So yeah. So this velocity view, a lot of strong winds moving through Bono and Monk's Corner right now across. And again, this is looking up in the storm. And you can see this thin green line that's about to cross I-26. That's that's the outflow boundary. That's the outflow winds that are going to bring some strong winds, some 50-mile-an-hour winds ahead of the line. So that's also roughly where the shelf cloud is. So you'll be seeing a shelf cloud. You're probably seeing it now in Goose Creek. Yeah, it'll be good. So let's get James back in here. He's got a good look at the lightning, and we'll bring James back into from Charlotte here, and he's getting a look at it. Yeah, there's some good lightning flashes happening right now in the Charlotte area as we are talking here, and this is good. This is good. This is a good view from Charlotte. And again, I'll go grab the Charlotte area radar for you. And there are lots and lots of radars to be had. That is for sure. And so again, here's a look there's the clusters of thunderstorms driving south. There's a really nice look at the kind of the edge of the clouds there, and no, it's looking nice. It's a decent storm. It's sub-severe. We don't have any warnings on it, although it is kicking some outflow inland. And so again, if there's any atmosphere that needs to be worked over there, we'll need to work on that. So got a great question here from Instagram asking about Colombia. And I'm going to reconfigure this. I'm going to keep James's camera up. I'm going to, though, make this a little bit more picture-in-picture. Whoa, that's way too big. Okay, that's not right. That's not how that should work. All right, thumbnails, maybe? All right, well, we'll keep him over there. I'm going to stay in this box. And, we do have questions about Colombia. And again, Colombia is getting hit and taking a good hit here. Let me go find CAE, and there it is. So here's the Colombia radar once again, and we have a new severe thunderstorm warning for the Charleston metro that I'll get to here in just a second. But yeah, Colombia is taking it on the chin, and we do expect something similar here in the Charleston metro in the next little bit. In fact, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning that I will go ahead and get pulled up here on the storm tracker radar. So again, on the live scan velocity, you got to use the brand names, man. So here's your new severe thunderstorm warning. This takes in Walterboro, St. George, Goose Creek, Charleston Metro proper, Adams Run. And again, this is, I think that storm motion is incorrect. Something is up with that. But new severe thunderstorm warning until 9:45, and this takes in pretty much the entire Charleston metro area. This is going to continue to include Moncks Corner. It's going to continue to include Goose Creek, Charleston metro, as I mentioned. We'll zoom in a little bit. Knightsville, Ridgeville, St. George, those Wando, Wadmalaw. So really, if you go up to your friend and it's like, hey, where do you live? I live in Charleston. You're under a severe thunderstorm warning right now. And so winds to 60 miles an hour. I don't know what happened with the, let's see here. What is the, it's moving at, okay. Yeah, that's not correct. It's moving southwest at 40. So I don't know why the software decided to say that it was stationary. It is not stationary. It is definitely not stationary. That is for sure. And folks, I'm doing my best to keep up with everything coming in. I've got to doing my best. But yes, no tornadoes expected. It's just a very windy thing. And this is let me do that. And I'm just grabbing some pictures. Y'all are sending some good pictures, and I can't get to everyone's messages right now. I'm doing my best, but right now it's a little hairy. There's a lot going on, and I have to keep a window open so I can keep the stream up. It's stupid, but that's the way it goes. But I'm seeing your photos. They are certainly the chef cloud is very impressive. I'm honestly kind of jealous that I'm sitting here and not actually seeing it for myself. The worst of the wind should be through in the next hour. Once we get this line kind of south of here, we should be okay. But it's just this line needs to be here. This line, needs some time, and we're going to, and we're certainly going to do our best to get it through here as quickly as possible. Let me put a storm track on this. Let's update your times of arrival. And drag and drag and drag and drag and drag. It's a long line, and they updated it to about 40 miles an hour to the southwest. So that's the latest thinking on arrival times, and I'll get my big big head out of the way here to show this to you. And transition that. So yeah, get my big head out of the way. We can show you kind of some of these rival times. And so again, Goose Creek area probably around a little bit in the that 826. That's not right. That's not even remotely right. Ignore these flags. About 9 o'clock in Goose Creek, Hollywood area about 9:30. Downtown Charleston. Looks like we are starting to see some of the storms begin to build back towards the coast. So the severe weather threat is increasing once again. So downtown Charleston about 9:10. And really we're just quibbling here with a lot of specifics here, but generally speaking, we are going to be dealing with this for the next hour, give or take. So I think it's a good way to put it. We'll have some rain behind it, but the severe threat will be through the area. Roughly by about 10 o'clock or so, we should be through the worst of it. So we'll just keep an eye on this for now, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to put myself back up. James is continuing his live stream here. We are continuing to watch him. He will be he'll be moving through. He's going to be jumping off here in a second. We may get him in here to cover, and so we'll keep an eye on that. He may be able to. We'll see if he has some time to help out. I know he's got a lot going on too, and he has a whole other day job and everything that he's trying to get back from, and a whole lot of things. So we'll see. Typically this is around the time when we would be starting to get ready for a regular Wednesday show. That has been postponed for severe weather coverage. And again, I'm Jared Smith out of Charleston, and coming to you with live severe weather coverage tonight. We don't have any tornadoes. It's usually tornadoes, but the widespread wind damage is the concern, and so we want to keep folks up to date and aware of what's happening. You can see, just taking a kind of a wider view of the radar here. In fact, I'll take the satellite radar composite across the Carolinas. So a couple things. We have a severe thunderstorm watch out until midnight. That watch is starting to get trimmed back a little bit. Finally starting to get trimmed back a little bit in western North Carolina, which is good. Strong line of thunderstorms continues to push southward. Two segments, one moving towards Charleston, one moving through Colombia right now, with very heavy rain, a lot of wind, and a lot of lightning. As you can see here, we have a ton of lightning showing up from the satellite lightning detection as well as the ground stations. So again, this is a dangerous storm, and you're going to want to be indoors. Let's go a little bit closer to let's go to Colombia. Let's take a look at Colombia here. This just zoomed right in. There's your outflow boundary getting south to Gaston and Swansea. St. Matthews and other outflow boundaries just come across, and there's this intersection right here. And you'll notice that the Weather Service in Colombia has a warning out here for this area, and that's intentional because it certainly looks like additional thunderstorms should fire. And we'll kind of back and forth that. You can kind of see that we're starting to see some of that additional development around St. Matthews. So again, I'm just kind of rocking the radar back and forth, hoping it'll go to sleep, but I don't think that's going to be the case for quite a while yet. And as these two outflow boundaries converge, we could see additional thunderstorms firing in the interior portions of South Carolina. So again, we have a severe thunderstorm watch. If you live in South Carolina, you're under a severe thunderstorm watch. I think that's the main thrust of this, and what we want the folks to take away from is that the risk for severe thunderstorms is statewide today. Let's go back to Charleston, and again, we are watching this. We have a couple things going on. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning. So we have a severe thunderstorm warning now that takes in the Charleston metro. It's an outflow boundary kind of moving through Ridgeville and Somerville and Hanahan, and that's your self cloud. Beyond that, that's when you get your gusty winds, and then the heavy rain and lightning. We have a couple damage reports from northern Berkeley County. There's been some there's been some issues in northern Berkeley County with downed trees and some power lines that caught on fire. So that's so these storms certainly do mean business, and that's early, and that's we don't know the full scope of these until way later, and so it's early yet, and we're still learning just exactly what this is doing. But here's your outflow boundary right now, and this is going to head into downtown Charleston in the next 5 or 10 minutes. It's actually crossing the airport right now. We should see an interesting we should see we should see some interesting readings coming out of the airport station here shortly. Let's see. So about a 38-mile-an-hour wind gust or so coming through there. In fact, reported by the Weather Service. Really impressive shot of another really just impressive shelf cloud. Let's switch this preview window to this, and this wow, this is impressive. This comes courtesy of Shay Gibson from the Weather Service chat, and that's impressive. There's no other way to put that. That's impressive. That's Isle of Palms. So there's your shelf cloud moving in. That looks that's quite a view, and we're getting a lot of these in. And again, I'm grabbing them. I'm doing my best. Sometimes the tools that they give us on the desktop to use are not nearly as good. And so so that's impressive. I got to tell you, that's a really impressive view. And again, that we're seeing it on radar. So this gray line that's showing up ahead of it. In fact, there might be some evidence that this is starting to pop some new thunderstorms, maybe out ahead. So we're gonna keep an eye on that. We're gonna have to keep an eye on that. And there is a risk. And again, as this comes through, there is a risk of down trees and down power lines and power outages. I haven't had a chance to look at those numbers yet, but Ridgeville, Somerville, Hanahan, it's getting windy now, and we should have more context on that here very shortly. So bouncing back and forth, I think that's going to be kind of the view of the night here. Let's go back to the WSV3 view. And again, here's the wide angle. Here's the wide view. The showers and thunderstorms moving south. Showers and thunderstorms moving across Colombia, moving south. Some very heavy rain, severe thunderstorm warnings in effect here. Large severe thunderstorm watch in place until midnight. I do want to touch on a few things for folks in eastern North Carolina. Seeing some of these storms begin to die down a little bit. The severe thunderstorm watch is still in place. Raleigh, Fayetteville, up into Wilmington. We're gonna keep an eye on this. I haven't had a chance to catch up with any of the thinking from the offices here, but there is certainly the potential for I'm hoping that we'll be able to drop that watch for y'all soon. But as I zoom out, and I see, I'm starting to see some, storms still in Southern Virginia, and I think that's the concern. I think that's the concern, and I think that's why they're sticking with it for now. So we'll be watching that closely. And again, the big reason why we're able to keep some of these storms, going like this is that we just have a lot of available instability still. And this is, again, this is not the best looking view ever, but you can see the temperatures are pretty warm here. We're down to 79 now in Monk's Corner. It was 86 there when the stream started. It was in the 90s. It's 88 now in Somerville, but I think that's going to continue to drop too. But where we see these pinks and these blacks. There's some pretty impressive instability being analyzed by the models. This is a convective available potential energy. If you've ever read a Weather Service discussion, it's called CAPE. It's not the kind of thing that Superman flies on. It's a measure of the potential energy in the atmosphere. And so when we get into these, we're getting into numbers that are in the the 3,500s, the 4,000s. That's pretty good instability. That is plenty of energy for storms to do their thing. And we are getting past sunset, and it is still pretty strong. I mean, there's still a good bit of instability. Just have a little bit less at the coast, but that's nothing to shake a stick at either. At the coast, it's only 2,000 and 2,000 to 2,500 only. So again, we want folks to. I want you all to understand that this is certainly it has the potential to continue to be somewhat of a high-end issue, and and showers and thunderstorms continuing to sag south. Here's the wide view of the Carolinas. Let's go back to the storm tracker here, and let's just update. Let's just update where we are, and I think it's working hard tonight. So I've never seen it skip frames like this. So there you go. But right now, seeing a bit of a dip in the action between roughly Hugie and Ondaw. Get out of the way here. Kind of lean back, get out of the way. Hugie and Ondaw. Monk's Corner, you're still in it, but it looks like that this is split a little bit. We have one core here, and we have one core around Holly Hill and St. George. And again, the risk for damaging winds will continue to spread southwestward over the next little bit, over the next hour. We believe that the severe threat will calm itself once this batch of storms is through. This should be enough to overturn things in a decent amount, but we're going to have to wait and see. One of the things that I noted that was interesting when I looked at the instability display here again over South Carolina and really North Carolina, if we look at that, there's still the atmosphere is actually rejuiced in some ways, and I think this has something to do with why the severe thunderstorm watch is still in effect. So again, that's certainly something that is interesting, and we'll have to keep an eye on that. Again, the sun's going down, and then the calculus will eventually change. But right now, you have one batch of storms coming through Ondaw, about to get into Mount Pleasant, headed to downtown Charleston next 30 minutes or so. We've had reports of gusts to 62, and in the last few minutes, in the last 15 minutes or so. Oh, there you go. My power just blipped. I don't know if you have me. That was interesting. I don't know if the stream is still running or not. But that was very interesting. Right. Let's see. Sorry, y'all. I got to get this back into focus here. Okay. I am okay. Great. I'm glad. All right. So we had a power blip here. My backup batteries had to kick in briefly, and I am in West Ashley, and the outflow just came through. To give you a general idea of what this is like. So I'm impressed it stayed on. Honestly, that's great. I haven't had to test the battery backup yet, so it looks like that worked flawlessly. And so yeah, this is really starting to get through. And again, that outflow just kicked through. We just had a gust that interrupted power. Getting a lot of reports from y'all that power is being interrupted now as this line gets through downtown Charleston. And it's impressive. So it's a again, this is no joke. And again, the rain is actually in some spots falling apart. Monk's Corner to Goose Creek. Really, the bulk of the rain right now is either in Hugie, Awe, and Daw, going into Mount Pleasant, or over St. George, and that's where a lot of your lightning and everything is. So, so again, this outflow boundary is coming through Goose Creek now. You're now getting into the rain, but not as much rain. We'll again, we'll keep an eye on this, but we certainly took a good power hit over here. At Charleston Weather Headquarters over here in West Ashley. So, but we're back. We're here. We never left, it sounds like, which is awesome. It is, oh, there it goes again. Yep. So it did it again. Had another interruption. You probably hear the beep in the background. That's my UPS is kicking in. So we have again, we're doing our best to stay unaffected, but we're doing our best. So looking at Columbia and Lexington, we do have some requests to take a look at that, and I'm taking a look at that, and it is nasty. This is this is nasty. This is really just a nasty setup right now moving through Lexington. And again, you have the risk for severe thunderstorms producing hail and high winds, a lot of lightning, a lot of very heavy rain here. In fact, let's take a peek at the precipitation rates. And I don't know why it zoomed out like that. That's not really what I wanted that to do. I want to just stay there, so I'll have to fix that. But right now, the instantaneous precipitation rates around Lexington are on the order of, let's see, let's get some here. 3 to 5 inches an hour near Lexington, just to the northwest. There's some very heavy rain falling with these, and we have had instances today further northeast where we've had flash flood warnings. We have all right, so. We have reports of a tree on fire, South Shem Drive, Mount Pleasant, and light pole on fire in North Charleston. Lightning strikes trees down in Berkeley County. Still getting a lot of still getting a lot here. The rain will be here soon. We're just going to have to get there. But again, we had a 47 mile an hour wind gust at the airport at 8:55, which is actually actually going easy on folks, it feels like. So let me get back to the satellite radar composite here real quick. So yeah, so that's the situation in Columbia. Your best risk, though, Columbia Metro, your best risk of damaging winds is starting to sink south of there. We're starting to look at areas around Orangeburg and other ports in the south. We're starting to get this to fill in near Sumter, and that's where outflow boundary 1 and outflow boundary 2 are beginning to collide. So we're going to get, we're going to get some pretty strong winds here. We're getting reports of power lines down now. Ashley Hall Plantation, trees down on Ladson, trees down on Long Point Road, and we're starting to get a lot of reports coming in. So again, this is why we're here. This is why we're here. We have, the strong to severe thunderstorms with some very gusty winds. Well out ahead, I'm getting messages. It's like, hey, the rain's not here. Where's the rain? It got windy as heck, but where's the rain? The rain is coming. Let's get back to our higher resolution data here, and let's take a look at. In fact, we'll do you one better. Let me get to the CLX. That's not the one I wanted. All right. This is the one I wanted. Perfect. Okay, cool. So, so this, you can see the outflow boundary is now coming through, has come through downtown. We're getting reports of damage. The outflow boundary stretches now is crossing well into Dorchester County at this point. Has come through West Ashley. I definitely felt it, as we can see, as y'all probably saw when I lost power here for a second, had a couple power blips. Fortunately, we're able to stay on the air, which is great news. So the wind gets to Walterboro here. The wind is going to get to Walterboro here fairly soon, in the next 15-20 minutes probably. We are, let me I'm going to make a tweak here. Because this outflow is important, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a tweak to the colors on the radar, so you have a better idea as to where certain things on. So we're going to get a little more sensitive here, yeah. So let me get to WSV3. And yeah, that blue line right here, there's your outflow boundary. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to time out. I'm going to draw a track, and we're going to time this out for folks. Again, this is the outflow. This is not the rain. We are seeing damaging wind gusts well ahead of the line of thunderstorms. And so this is the outflow. And it looks like it's going to get into Walterboro here. It is, well, I think it's going to get there. Let's see. Oh, we got the time right there. Yeah, I just can't see it on my screen. I have so much going on. 9:24 in Walterboro. There's 9:11 Ravenel, 9:14 Hollywood, 9:15 Wadmalaw, 9:24 Walterboro, 9:48 in Hampton, Fairfax, Allendale, approaching the 10 o'clock hour, Beaufort, Burton, Estill, Port Royal. So again, this is going to get into Georgia here. And we have had damage with just this thin line. Additional showers and thunderstorms behind it are continuing, and we'll continue to dig into that a little bit. But yeah, so that's that leading edge of wind there is taking place ahead of that. So again, thanks to everybody who's joining us on various channels here, the Carolina Weather Group, YouTube, Charleston Weather, Instagram. We are here in long form severe weather coverage. Not something we normally do for severe thunderstorm warnings, but this is proving to be a special case where we have a lot of concern, and we felt it best to get out ahead of this for y'all and get that in there. So we have a new warning actually now towards Augusta and Aiken. Ridge Spring, Johnson, Edgefield. This includes Edgefield there. Quarter-size hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds possible for portions of Aiken, North Augusta, Batesburg, Leesburg, Edgefield County Airport, down I-20. I-20 really is not a fun drive right now, really anywhere in the state. I'm just kind of tracing it down I-20. I-20 just isn't fun right now. Is it ever fun? But that's a whole other set of conversation. This is a whole other set of conversations. But Oak Grove, Pelion, North, Orangeburg, get out of the way here. Orangeburg, Norway, Wagner, Aiken, you're kind of selling out under a lucky star right now, but we've got significant thunderstorms that are en route, and they're coming. Lord, they're coming. And so again, gusty winds are the main concern. Gusty downburst winds are the main concern. Hail is a secondary concern. All of the severe thunderstorm warnings are still in effect for the Charleston metro. we are able to call all clear for St. Stephen and Jamestown as far as severe weather goes. The warning there has been allowed to expire. So Jamestown, St. Stephen, you're good. Really, anywhere in northern Berkeley County, the far northern Berkeley County around the Santee, you're in the rain. There's some lightning. There's some issues, but it's not like it was earlier. The risk for wind damage has continued to shift southward. Not a lot of rain in Monk's Corner. Not a lot of rain really down the center of this. Somerville, you're seeing some showers pop up around there. The lightning cores, though, where you can see all the lightning, that's happening around St. George. It's happening Ondaw, Bulls Bay, kind of south of there, heading into Charleston Harbor right now. There was a 50-knot gust in Charleston Harbor. So very, very strong winds. Obviously not a time to go out on the boat. These thunderstorms are moving southward and southwestward. We got questions about hail, and we don't have any reports of hail in the metro right now. If there's going to be any hail, it's going to be relatively on the small side. The wind is certainly the major concern. We have a question about Charleston Southern, and so I want to we can zoom in on that here a little bit, and I follow 78 to let's get some streets up here. Charleston Southern, really, they got some winds for sure, but it's really not. It's not. It could be worse, is the way that I'm going to put this. It could be much worse, and so that's the pleasant thing. There's Ashley Frustrate, rather. Collins Road, Palmetto Commerce Parkway, getting a new interchange. Lincolnville Road, Stony Road, College Park Road. And we're starting to see some showers pop up around Ladson, and this is generally in the area of concern. Green Ridge Road near the 26 interchange there. There's Highway 78 where it branches off. Go north here. As Hamlet Circle, this is Crowfield. This through here, Camelot area. So, there's certainly some rain here, and there is a severe thunderstorm warning for this area. But right now, we are not seeing much in the way of rain there, which is interesting. Getting questions about downtown, and again, downtown, you got some rain in the area. You got some heavier rain on the way. And the other complicating factor here is that we're coming up on a higher tide. Tide is going to be 6.6 feet tonight. That's in the action stage. So we'll need to see what happens with this batch of rain as it moves in. Hopefully the heaviest rain can stay away from downtown, because we might be adding flooding on top of everything else here. And nobody got time for that. So, yeah. So yeah, it is near the exit between Ladson and Goose Creek. Yeah, I don't know why I'm not finding University Boulevard on here. That's so weird. I don't know. Maybe I'm losing it. Maybe I lost it a long time. Maybe I lost my mind a long time ago. Anyway, yeah, Charleston Southern, it exists. It's in here somewhere. I don't know why I can't find that road. I don't know if my map data is crap or what. Yeah, exit 205 right here, down 78. Yeah, I don't know. That's really strange. I should see University Boulevard here. Maybe. Weird. Okay. Well, this is technically called University Boulevard. Yeah, there's 203. There's 203 to College Park, 205 to... Anyway. They're opening a whole other interchange here, too. That's not fun to drive through, let me tell you. So, but anyway, yeah, let's zoom out a little bit. Let's just take the zoom. And we're gonna get some cameras. Yeah, and it is just Highway 78. Yeah, it's been a long day, guys. I'm sorry. I know this area, I swear to God. I've only lived here 30 years. Keep forgetting that 78. But you can see as we take kind of a wider view here, and let's actually go to the wide view. Get this back into motion. We can see what the last 3 hours have looked like here. As the line of thunderstorms have pushing down through Charleston, pushing down through Columbia. Main area of concern is becoming the southwestern corner of South Carolina, where the atmosphere is still very untapped, plenty of instability available. Certainly something that we're going to have to keep a close eye on here over the next little while. We're going to have lightning, we're going to have thunder, and we're going to have some gusty winds. We have had gusts to 47 miles an hour at the airport, 50 plus knots, approaching severe limits in the harbor. We have had numerous reports of wind damage in the PD, and we're starting to get reports of wind damage in Berkeley. So we're getting reports of transformers blown, actually not very far from where I am. That kind of makes sense. So this is causing issues. It does look like that it is not nearly as potent as it was. There's some splitting going on here, and I do think that that has something to do with the atmosphere getting worked over a little bit. But it is very windy, and it is going to continue to be very windy over the next little bit. It will calm down, but right now we're going to be dealing with this for a little bit longer. Let's zoom in. Let's zoom in on Colombia real quick, because Colombia has been taking it on the chin here recently, and Columbia Metro has been taking it on chin. Really, anywhere on I-20 is just not fun right now. It seems like that this is all following I-20, but we have severe thunderstorm warning south of Columbia, extending into Orangeburg. Severe thunderstorm watch has been trimmed back, and we'll talk about that here in a second. We'll take a look at our watches. We'll update that. But yeah, Columbia, Oak Grove, Batesburg, Augusta, those areas are now starting to get into the act. We have a strong cell right around the 95, and 26 interchange near Branchville. This is moving southwest. This is all moving southwest around an upper level low, which is a little weird, but that's the way that this is working today. We'll take this wider here, and actually let me get the severe thunderstorm watch view, because we are able to cancel out some counties. So if you're in the PD area, Horry, Georgetown, Williamsburg, you are out of it. So Myrtle Beach, Georgetown, Florence, the risk for severe weather has ended. And Wilmington, Havelock, Washington, these areas, the severe risk is ending. There's still some concern about some renewed instability around Fayetteville and Raleigh. We'll see what happens with the watch here. They've been conservative about letting that go, and I understand it. Charlotte, you're still in the watch. Charlotte area is still in the watch. Columbia, Greenville, you're still in a severe thunderstorm watch. We still have a lot going on out here. That watch is going to go until midnight. And depending on how things evolve, for some folks, it may be extended. So, that's just something that we're going to have to watch very closely. But but again, there's a look at what we've got going on. We had a second round of storms, skirting Greenville. So again, the atmosphere is recharged. The atmosphere is recharged, and in some spots, and is continuing to produce showers and thunderstorms with the influence of the upper low. So again, we're seeing this split here towards Charleston, really nasty south of Columbia now, getting south of Columbia, very heavy rain, and we should see that continue to zipper down I-95 here in the next little bit. So if I-95 is in your travel plans, you're just like, man, it's Wednesday, I feel like going on I-95. Give it some time, and we'll go from there. But again, and again, the wind, the feature here for Charleston is that the wind has been well ahead of the line of storms, and we'll go back to the higher resolution look, the live scan look here, and you can see just all of these, just numerous cells continuing to go at this hour. But we have a bit of a split happening. Monk's Corner, Goose Creek, Charleston, you're not getting a ton. We're getting reports that Folly is now getting into getting decent gusts here. Here's I-26 at I-77 right now. Let me see, I'm going to just reconfigure this real fast so I can get a little bit of a better view of this for you. So here's I-26 at 77. Sorry, guys, I'm still just kind of working through this, and I'm just going to take myself off the screen here for a second because that looks dumb. So we'll do that, and turn studio mode off, I think. Not off. All right. So there's I-26 at 77. Traffic's moving. Ain't, certainly not the best night to be out there. Let's scroll the radar in that direction. And again, this is looking through Colombia, so we'll zoom in there. There's 77, there's 26, and this is roughly, kind of roughly where we're looking here. Some heavy rain still. The severe thunderstorm warning kind of on the tail end there, but that's not looking nearly as gnarly there. And there is some lightning. There's certainly some lightning there, as I would expect. But things are overall trending down in Colombia, which is good. We have these outflow boundaries that are continuing to intersect that should instigate additional thunderstorms going into. Wow, that was a good one. Yeah, that was a good strike right there, showing up there on our live camera. This is a SCDOT camera here, showing up. Wow, yeah. So again, so plenty of lightning, and then that's borne out with the lightning data that we have up on the screen here. That's and so yeah, it's a good look at what we've got going on here right now from Colombia. So let's go ahead and I'm going to take myself back full and get back up on the screen here. Not like that. I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I did what I did. Anyway, so back to the radar. Again, we'll take a wide look. We still have thunderstorms, in the upstate. We have thunderstorms, around Hartwell and Anderson, Hartwell, Georgia, that is. We have, still some strong storms south of Charlotte, 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts possible around Rock Hill. I mean, it's still some decent storms here. But what we're seeing is that the updrafts have kind of split. So the rain is moving into Charleston. The rain is moving through St. George and 26 and 95. But a lot of that is splitting the coast. We're starting to see some of this, though, in Mount Pleasant. This is giving some pretty decent rain rates here in Mount Pleasant with the lightning. And again, there's still a risk for damaging wind gusts here through about 9:45. So we got about 20 minutes. And we're trying to understand, how this outflow is going to. Trying to understand, what's happening there. So again, if you have any damage reports, I'd love to hear them. That would be incredibly beneficial here. And so anything you got there. But right now, some of the heaviest rain in the metro is falling roughly down Johnny Dodds in Mount Pleasant. And so, Johnny Dodds Boulevard area up 17. A lot of heavy rain falling here right now. This is getting close to downtown, and we have to watch that closely. We'll zoom in a little bit closer here. We got to keep a close eye on that because too much of this hanging around could be a problem with the tides the way they are today. So we're going to need to keep a close eye on that. And again, if you have any reports, flooding reports or anything like that, please pass them along. We are, in communication with the Weather Service. Let them know what's happening. And so whatever you guys can tell us is really helpful. The outflow boundary is about to Walterboro, and we're getting a new scan. We're getting an updated scan here. Let me draw a new storm track on it. It's not often that I draw storm tracks on outflow boundaries, but this is not a normal situation. We're getting that new scan in right now. This is where I think it is. Yeah, that sounds about right. And we'll just call it moving southwest at about 40. Again, the storm motion vector is something calculated by the radar, is not really handling this situation all too well. But there's your arrival times. The heavy wind is just a few minutes away now in Walterboro. Waiting on any damage reports to come in. Hampton, Beaufort, Burton. I think the upshot here is that for those of you in the Tri-County area, this outflow wind is beginning to move through. We still have the severe thunderstorm warning until 9:45, and we still got a ton of lightning and thunder in a couple spots. But we are looking at that. So again, we have reports of power outages throughout the area. There's going to be power outages in West Ashley. We saw a report that a transformer blew in Shadow Moss. Not terribly surprising if somebody has a little bit too much Taco Bell and has to expel that, the power goes out in Shadow Moss. So we don't and apologies to everybody who joined the broadcast at the time that we made a fart joke. But sometimes that's what we have to do to stay sane. So again, this outflow line is going to be clearing out of South Carolina at about 10:30 or so. So again, if you're, if you got friends or you're watching us, Beaufort, Hilton Head, Savannah area, the Savannah Media Market, here are some arrival times, and this is going to get to the Savannah River at about 10:30 or so, give or take, if the outflow sustains itself. With any luck, that this is going to be a little bit weaker by the time it gets further southwest. I think the other thing to note is that we haven't seen any new storms really firing on that outflow as of late, which is that's always helpful. We do have some showers that are firing, around the Charleston metro. St. George is really taking it on the chin right now. Branchville really taking it on the chin. The Bowman area, a lot of lightning here. Just a ton of lightning. 941 strikes just in this box. So St. George up 78, 178. It's just really just not a fun situation right now for this part of the world. Let's take a peek at the velocity data too. We haven't really looked at that too much, but this gives us a general idea of what the radar is measuring and what's up there. So again, what we're finding is that the radar measurements are relatively low. Again, this is looking about 3,000 to 4,000 feet up. We're finding that, and I'm not surprised with the way the atmosphere is configured today. We're finding that the microbursts are happening, getting that much closer to the surface. It's still 30 to 40 miles an hour aloft. There's nothing to shake a stick at, and the proof is in the pudding with storm reports. Let's go grab those. Actually, let's grab some recent storm reports. And so we have several. Let's go to Colombia first. We'll get back to the radar in a second, but we have reports of damage around. Let me take myself off the screen here real fast, or I'll double box. We have numerous reports of we have reports of lightning around Blythewood, or down trees around Blythewood and Elgin, Dentsville, collapsed structure reported by the Columbia Fire Department. That's significant. We have trees down on in Irmo. We have even a report of maybe a possible tornado up near Winsboro from earlier. Again, this is all in the last 90 minutes or so. We'll take this further down. We'll take this down to Charleston, and we're starting to get some storm reports in from the Charleston metro as well. Several wind gust reports coming in. 52-mile-an-hour winds in the harbor, 53, 44-mile-an-hour winds at Plum Island. We have a tree down on Long Point Road. We have a tree down on Sprigg Court in Ladson. We have reports of trees down in Bethera near Hugie. We have trees down near Bono, St. Stephen. Several reports of trees and power lines down. And these are going to continue to come in. We are seeing that we are continuing to see that reports are rolling in. Generally, trees and power lines in Mount Pleasant, which is not terribly surprising. I would expect that. I would expect that to be the case. So, again, we are just we're in it to win it today, and we've got a little while left before everything goes. So we're back to the radar here across Charleston, starting to see the showers begin to pop back up around James and Johns, heading to the islands here down Baybank Highway. There's Shadow Moss there. We have some showers popping up. The heaviest rain right now is falling in Mount Pleasant, and this is where we're getting the most storm reports out of Charleston County at this point right now. This little small line of storms is pushing along the coast. So get ready in Folly. You got some rain and wind headed your way. Kiowa, same deal. The outflow boundary is just about clear the Tri-County. So that is that's one thing that we'll have to watch. Increasingly, the interest is becoming Augusta to Batesburg to Oak Grove to Orangeburg. We have new severe thunderstorm warnings out, include Barnwell and St. George. And this warning, well, not St. George, sorry, Barnwell. We can zoom in a little bit, get you Barnwell, Bamberg, Williston, New Ellington. Aiken is now finally in a warning. 2 warnings around it, but we finally have the warning here, and they're about to get some rain here. This is going to go until 10:15, and again, the concern is 60-mile-an-hour winds and maybe nickel-size hail. So that is not an invitation to play Nickelback, but nickel-size hail for sure is something that they are concerned about. Again, hail has not been the main concern throughout the day. It's really been the risk for wind damage and lightning strikes, which is bearing out in the storm reports that we are getting from around the region and being passed along by the Weather Service. And again, if you have any wind damage, down trees, power lines near you, we'd love to know about them. We would love to know about them. And so we are just keeping an eye on things here. Again, just misplacing my trackball because it's wireless and it can just go anywhere. And sometimes I misplace it. So right now, when we look at where the heaviest weather is in the Charleston metro, it's going to be St. George and the Charleston Tri-County area. St. George area, the wind shift is just about to get through Walterboro. The only place that's really not under a warning right now is basically from Walterboro and point south. The Weather Service folks are in a bind here because this outflow boundary has been known to produce damage. It could be weakening. So far, we have no reports of damage in Colleton County. We'll see if that changes. But they're having a heck of a time right now figuring out, okay, should we extend the warning for the south? What they've done right now is done a special weather statement for the strong winds, 50 to 55 miles an hour. But there's no evidence to this point that supports a severe thunderstorm warning. We'll see. That could change. We start getting damage reports in, or we see an uptick on the radar. The Weather Service they'll pop off. So we'll keep an eye on that. Charleston Metro, generally some light rain. Most of the heaviest rain in the Charleston Metro is actually offshore, kind of continuing to follow the outflow boundary south. So the outflow boundary is kind of bowing out a little bit. And I really wish that I could get my full I could get my full camera here, but there's just no way. So again, a lot of lightning, a lot of thunder. We still have the severe thunderstorm warning going for the next 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. So we'll keep an eye on this, and we'll see what this ends up doing. Hopefully, again, it looks like that we're keeping the worst of the rain so far away from downtown, and that is good. But still, we still see a lot of lightning. I mean, there's a flash showing up, where there's no rain. That's not terribly surprising. There's a lot of energy here, and it does not surprise me in the slightst. So again, I'm taking a peek at some higher resolution data here. But overall, what we're seeing is, I'm going to set this into motion to kind of illustrate my point. What we're seeing is really that, just that kind of gap there. One batch of rain moving south, one batch of rain moving southwest, splitting the Charleston metro in two. It's kind of more of an extreme version of the Charleston split. Not the worst thing in the world, but wind damage is a possibility. We've had some power outages. We've had some issues there. Continuing to monitor reports from emergency managers and other members of the media about, and from the Weather Service themselves, about what's happening on the ground to try and tell you here. So, let's just kind of going through here. And all right, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning. All right, so they've gone ahead and issued for the Walterboro. So if you're in Walterboro, you're now under a severe thunderstorm warning. So let's talk about this. Now, this is for gusts to 60 miles an hour. Walterboro, St. George, you're in this. You're going to be in this for a little bit. I suspect what's going to happen is that we're going to see this larger warning that takes in much of the metro. I suspect what might happen is that this may eventually get dropped, which would be, hey, I wouldn't hate it. Focusing the new warning on this strong convection, and again, there's the outflow boundary there, but we have strong convection firing behind it. It's going to head towards Walterboro. Heavy rain, lightning, gusts to 60 miles an hour. Walterboro, St. George, Givens Ferry State Park, Colleton, Cottageville, Reevesville, Sycamore, Smoke, Slodge, and Williams. You're in the line of fire for this particular thunderstorm right now. That is continuing to, the storm motions are still wrong. I don't understand the parsing error with that, but the Weather Service has it moving southwest at 25. So if we take that, let's take that, and let's do a little storm tracky poo for you. So southwest at about 25, and that's going to put this into Walterboro. Really, the rain will start in Walterboro here about 9:53, and this is going to get into Yenisei and Furman, Scotia, Ridgeland, those areas. So a lot of those towns down I-95, so we'll be watching that closely. Let's just take we're seeing a lot of the action begin to converge right around central South Carolina at this point. So the Orangeburg area, we have one thunderstorm moving to the southwest. We have another line of storms that came out of Colombia that's moving in there. We have a third batch of thunderstorms that's around Charleston, just generally offshore. There's some showers beginning to pop there too, some heavy downpours there. We may still see some rain. Again, I think the risk for severe weather will diminish. We'll need to see, there's certainly evidence that these storms have depleted some of the instability. Temperatures fell quite a bit, actually, even with just the outflow. You don't need a lot of rain to make the temperatures fall. We went from 85. Let's see here. I'm just taking another look at another source of data here real quick. And yeah, we went from 85 at about 8 o'clock to, let's put that there, to 73 now at 9:30. So my guess is that the atmosphere here is pretty well worked over at this point. So we'll see, we're going to let the Weather Service make that determination as far as what to do with watches and warnings. That's not why we're here. That's not what I'm here to do. But there is going to be thunder. There's going to be, you're going to have, we get reports that the thunder is actually starting back up in Goose Creek, and that's not surprising. See all the lightning here with just this stable rain at this point. This is all just stable rain. And this is going to be, moving in. So there is some rain. There's more rain coming. The severe stuff, though, I think is going to be a little bit less likely. So again, we'll see what We have this warning that's in the Charleston Metro that goes until 9:45, so that we have less than 10 minutes with it. We'll see what they do. There's a lot going on, and so I can imagine that they'll probably just let that one run out the clock, and that's fine. They got enough to do. Weather Service offices are very, very, very busy. They have enough to do. So Walterboro, the gust front just came through Walterboro there, so you're probably going to see the winds begin to tick up there. We'll keep an eye on the observations out of Walterboro. We're seeing showers and storms pop up further into southwestern Charleston County. So again, if you were around like Kiowa, Seabrook, Wadmalaw, Johns Island, getting some downpours there. Along the gust front, let's just take a quick peek at the velocity and just see kind of what we're seeing. And the velocity data actually does a really good job of showing us where the outflow boundary is too. We have a little bit of purple haze, a little bit of bad data here, but and generally speaking, that outflow boundary is about to clear the Tri-County completely. Edisto, it's very close to you, so if you're around Edisto, if you're around Edisto, you're going to get some strong winds here in a minute. But notably, you're not in a severe thunderstorm warning in Edisto, but there's still the potential for 40 to 50 mile an hour winds in that neck of the woods. So taking that full, and again, we're seeing this impressive line of storms. This another outflow boundary coming south out of Orangeburg, and so Norway, Williston, Blackville, Denmark, Bamberg, Barnwell, all some arrival times for you as we get into the western parts of South Carolina. And again, I think these areas are some strong and gusty winds, upwards 60, 70 miles an hour, probably it. So a lot of questions coming in about West Ashley. There's nothing happening, and well, that's partially true. That's reasonably accurate. Taking a look at the West Ashley area right now, getting a new radar scan in as we speak. There it goes. Pretty dry. There's not a lot here. We had some wind come through ahead of that. You can see the outflow boundary kind of is now passed through Jacksonboro, kind of the southwest, but it's very much moving out of there, but we're still getting plenty of there. So we just got the word from the Weather Service that they're going to allow the warning to expire for this warning here. They're going to allow this to expire at 9:45. So that warning goes away. Risk for severe weather in Charleston proper is diminishing. We're seeing the outflow move south. We're seeing this kind of a cluster of thunderstorms trying to develop and move south, but the warning here is over. We're still seeing a lot of lightning. There's still a lot of thunder. There's still a lot going on here. There's going to be some steady rain moving in behind this that will get actually some of you actually kind of a nice soaking, honestly. But it is windy. There's lightning. There's thunder. We're kind of out here, taking a look just at Charleston, Wadmalaw, Folly. It's probably pretty gnarly there right now. Probably not great. Again, we could see those winds gusting 45, 50 miles an hour at times, but the risk for severe weather is dropping. But yeah, I do think that we're going to get at least a little bit of rain in Goose Creek. We have some questions around, am I getting rain? And I think it's a valid question. It's been baking here. We're out of drought, but we could still, but like all the dads on the front porches would say, we could use the rain. That it certainly could not hurt to kind of get things a little less parched. But really right now, the main action is down I-95 right here. There we go. There's I-95. I think that is near 17. There, a lot of showers, a lot of thunderstorms here. Still numerous showers and thunderstorms from Augusta, Georgia to Orangeburg uh, down there. Um, and again, once again, we have a request to take a peek at Pelion here. And Pelion, you're still a lot of lightning, still some thunder, but the worst of it is over there. Columbia Metro is no longer in any severe thunderstorm warning. The watch continues, but the warning has been let go. So that is helpful. That is, it's always nice to have that let go. Don't have to really deal with that. Um, and so we'll get that warning out of here eventually. A lot of folks are seeing rain. A lot of folks are seeing wind. Some folks are seeing no rain, and some folks have seen very little wind, and that's just the way these things go. So here's a good report out of Charlotte. It's we still have storms firing around Charlotte. You can see it behind me here. Northwest Charlotte, good amount of lightning flashes within the past 10 or 15 minutes with a small but distant cell to my south. So yeah, and we can see that here pretty well. In fact, it has a special weather statement on it for 50-mile-an-hour winds, which is why the severe thunderstorm watch is still ongoing here. There's still development. There's still things happening. So we're keeping an eye on that. Again, our main concern are the areas where we have the severe thunderstorm warnings. Kiowa right now, got a question about Kiowa here. And again, Kiowa Island, you're in it right now. They're in it. It's not terrible, but there's definitely some heavy downpours that you'll run into as you head back into Charleston proper. Folly, you've got some heavy downpours on you right now. Probably some gusty winds. Again, the severe thunderstorm warning for this area is expired. It's over. We are out of the severe thunderstorm warning here now, so that's good. Folly, Wadmalaw, Seabrook, those areas still in the rain. There's still some heavy downpours there. Not seeing a ton of lightning at this point, which is interesting. That's a good sign there too. So let's see what we're gonna do here real quick. There's some days you got to do what you got to do. So we're going to leave the satellite and radar going here for a second. I'm going to step off camera real quick, and then I will be right back. So we're gonna step out, and for just a second here, we'll be keeping an eye on things, but I will be right back in about 5 minutes. All right, we are back. I'm Jared Smith with Carolina Weather Group out here in Charleston, South Carolina, keeping an eye on severe thunderstorms that have been moving across the state for the last few hours. We are getting to a phase where a lot of this activity is going to be moving into Georgia soon. We're seeing damage reports come in. We're seeing it's been a somewhat busy night, even though we have not in here in Charleston, we've not really seen a ton of rain, but areas but some spots that's not always the case. So let's get back to the high resolution radar view, and we'll go just kind of dive in here. Let me see, where do we want to go today? Let's start in the Charleston metro, and we have showers moving southward across Folly and Seabrook right now, and there's going to be a little bit gnarly there for the next little bit. But the main thing is that the severe thunderstorm warning for the Charleston metro has expired. Now we still have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect as we scroll out. That includes western Dorchester, so St. George, Givens Ferry State Park, and then this gets into Colleton County. So Colleton, Collegeville, Reesville, Sycamore, Smokes, Lodge, and Williams, down into Colleton, and even taking in a little bit of Allendale and Hampton, I believe, as well. Yes. So so that's the active warning in the Charleston Tri-County area right now, and this storm is certainly continuing to show some punch. And this is right in that corridor that we had kind of expected. I had a feeling that this was going to be where we saw some of this, and just taking a look at the instability. And I think the thing to note is that, and I'll go ahead and I'm going to take up a view here that if you haven't been with us, it looks like a child had an art class accident, but I promise you there's something to be said for this. This is the instability. This is the instability progs here. There's Charleston right there. There's and you can see that we're down to 70 at Monk's Corner, 73 at the airport in Charleston, 77 in Somerville, and that's 72 in Mount Pleasant, and 79 at Johns Island. And this tight gradient here now, this is basically representing where the atmosphere has been largely worked over. A lot less instability. This is a view of instability where you see the pinks and the purples and the blacks. That's convective available potential energy values of over 5,000 still showing up here, and we have a pool of that showing up in Macon. When we get further inland where the storms have come through and where that wind shift has come through, we see much lower values, still in that 1,500, 2,000 range. But as you get even further north, you're starting to see that most of that has been used. And in fact, if we look at the convective inhibition, this is basically what kind of what's working against these storms. That inhibition has really come up in a big way to our north, and that'll eventually work in here. Another pool of inhibition here, but there's thunderstorms moving into that, and we'll see if that holds or not. So again, kind of a nerdy view of things, but that's what we do sometimes to help tell the story. There is some steady rain moving into St. Stephen and Goose Creek and Somerville. This is moving southwest. Not seeing as much lightning with this, although you're going to hear some lightning. You're not going to hear lightning. You're going to hear thunder. You're not going to hear lightning, but you'll probably hear some thunder as we get towards as the night sets in. Layer of warm air will sit on top of the slightly cooler air at the surface, and that helps to duct the sound waves. So that's why thunder sounds louder at night. By the way, so yeah, we're seeing this. We're seeing this these thunderstorms really the main concerns are moving out of the Charleston Tri-County area. We still have some downpours there for sure, but we're seeing the worst of it move out of there and now into Colleton County, as well as Orangeburg, into Barnwell, Augusta, Georgia. We have looks like these outflow boundaries have done what we expected them to do. They've collided. New thunderstorms have come up, severe thunderstorms. So Orangeburg, this area, Branchville, see a ton of lightning still flashing here. About 2,500 or so flashes in the last 20 minutes. So again, plenty of lightning to be seen here, and that's where thunder is often heard as well. So let's see. All right. So and again, if you were hoping to join us for our normal weekly show, that we unfortunately needed to postpone for severe weather coverage tonight. We have a lot to do. We still are dealing with some severe weather in the Carolinas, and really, if we take a wide view here of how things have evolved over the last 3 hours, the bulk of the action is now moving south of Colombia, is really concentrating into southwestern South Carolina. And it's hard to say what western South Carolina is, right? Because it does this. But western South Carolina, if you're in the Charleston Tri-County area, aside from the St. George and those areas, you are in a much better place. Have some light rain moving in, but the heaviest rain is staying out of downtown, which is good news. And so there's a lot of there's certainly certainly some loudness that will still be happening, but overall, I think what we're seeing is that the Charleston split has done a different version of itself. We had one cell move south, we had one cell move west. So there you go. We're getting into we're getting into the 10 o'clock hour here. Let's talk about the watches that we have still in effect here. And I'll push this forward a little bit because this has been updated. So we still have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for the Charleston Tri-County area, although I think that we may be able to get rid of this a little bit sooner than midnight. So we may be able to get rid of it a little bit sooner. Still goes up through Columbia and Greenville, up into Charlotte, still a few counties, up into the Piedmont and the Triad. But I'm expecting to see more of this watch get trimmed back over time. And I fully, and again, this is the Weather Service's discretion, not mine. But knowing how these things go, we'll probably see the threat for severe weather begin to diminish further enough to where the watch can be let go a little early, which would be great. We may still deal with some showers and maybe some thunderstorm, maybe a couple rumbles of thunder overnight, but the risk for additional severe weather where you've already had weather come through is diminishing. So that is good news. We're still seeing some cells pop up around Charlotte. And we've had some stuff pop up around Greenville, but again, as we get later into the evening, a lot of this was just driven by the heat of the day. There was some dynamical stuff in play, a little bit. We had an upper low that was helping to instigate some of this, but really the heat of the day was driving this, and that is what is going to. And so as we lose that, we'll start to see this begin to kind of fizzle its way out. But for the moment, it's still, proceeding into Georgia, out of western South Carolina, where we have several severe thunderstorm warnings still in effect. Just to give you an update on our plans here, we're getting to the 10 o'clock hour. I plan to sign off here probably about 10:30. We may still have the watch in effect, but we can handle that through text. My goal is to get us through a little bit longer here, take any additional questions that you have, and then we'll get out of here and get you onto your bed. get you on to bed. But right now we have zooming in, taking a look at the composite showers, thunderstorms, Orangeburg to Augusta. And all right, there's a yeah. It looks like that the focus for any severe is continuing to spread into Georgia, and we should see pop up momentarily a new severe thunderstorm watch for Georgia. But this is the Carolina weather group. Sorry, Georgia, nothing personal. And so we'll be signing off here soon as the risk for severe weather ends across South Carolina. So for the usual Carolina weather group episode, unfortunately we had to reschedule with our guest. We will have more for you on that. But we should be back here next week with a new episode. So thank you for watching as always. And again, thank you to everybody who has been watching with us and helping us out here tonight with your reports. It's been very useful. For some folks have had a rough night. Other folks, it could have been worse. And that's usually how these things go. But we're still going to hang with you here for, up to 10:30. We may get out of here a little sooner. Let's see how things evolve. But right now, what we are watching is a lot of lightning across the southeast. By the way, just a ton of it. It's a very convectively active atmosphere in the southeast. But what we're watching right now are strong thunderstorms moving through Walterboro. So there's Walterboro, there's I-95 there. These are coming right down I-95. And this is where the greatest risk for any damaging wind could exist. And we're getting closer to the radar site too. So we're starting to be able to sample a little bit further down. And when the radar's sampling, 56 miles an hour, 55 in there. We have some 30, you have some weaker stuff, but you have some stronger stuff in here too. Especially with some of the stronger updrafts, and as they collapse, the resulting wind. So we're seeing that here. So that's something that we're going to continue to watch. The worst of it is coming through Walterboro right now. Once it is through, your severe weather threat will end. But in the meantime, we're still dealing with that in the short term. Go back to level 2 here and to reflectivity. We'll turn the live scan on so we can get frequent updates. But there's an outflow boundary. There's one outflow boundary right here. Kind of converged, honestly, if we're being honest. These have converged. And so this is all moving southwest, and this has prompted a new severe thunderstorm watch in Georgia. And for our Georgia friends, we'll let me see if the watch graphic is updated. Yes, it has. So let's take a peek at that. So new severe thunderstorm watch. It does include Atlanta. And this goes until 4 a.m. So this watch goes until midnight here, and I suspect that this is going to be trimmed away even further here soon. But this watch goes until 4 a.m. But that is in Georgia. So if you know folks there, there's some gnarly weather might be headed their way, and we want folks to be prepared for that. So let's we'll keep an eye on that. But in the meantime, again, watching really looks like we got 2 warnings on the board left in South Carolina. This is the first one. This includes places like Aiken and Orangeburg and Bamberg and Denmark, Bowman. Really a lot of spots here. USC Aiken, South Carolina State. A lot of locations here in that warning. That warning goes until 10:15. This warning goes until 10:30 over in Colleton County. And at this point, if you live anywhere in the Charleston, if you live in the Tri-County area, we no longer have any active land-based warnings in effect. We still have some marine warnings out, so don't go on your boat. But land-based warnings, those have ended. We still have a little bit of rain. We may get you might get a rogue lightning strike or two. That can happen sometimes. You might hear some thunder, but the worst is over in the Charleston metro. I think I want to make that clear here. The worst is over in the Charleston metro, and we'll get a message out to that effect, actually. So that is good news. We are, again, I'm, watching out for any reports there, but we are through the worst in the Charleston metro. So I think what I might do, actually, because we're through the worst in the Charleston metro, we're going to go ahead, and for Instagram folks, thank you for hanging with us. We're going to go ahead and end the Charleston weather Instagram stream. But what we're going to do is we're going to stay here on YouTube, on the Carolina Weather Group YouTube. So if you want to come on over to the Carolina Weather Group YouTube, just search for Carolina Weather Group. You'll see the live bug there. You'll see me doing my thing. We'll be there. So we'll be there until 10:30. So we'll see you there. But for Instagram, thank you so much again, Jared Smith, Carolina Weather Group, Charleston Weather, aka Weather Daddy. I saw y'all. Have a wonderful night. Okay, and now that we've got and so we continue our coverage here now in the Carolina Weather Group of severe weather moving through mostly South Carolina at this point. As we zoom out and we take a broader view of the satellite radar composite, we'll see how the watch has been chipped away over time, and this is we're still seeing it get chipped away. There's still a watch out in Charlotte. There's still a watch. So there's still some storms firing around Charlotte. So they're not letting that go just yet. But down towards Charleston, down towards this has all moved south of Charleston now, which is why we just let the Charleston audience go. And the main line of storms is headed towards the Savannah River. So this is going to be out of South Carolina probably in the next hour or less. You can see the progression over the past 3 hours. This really the strongest convection moving towards the Savannah River now, and so with that in mind, again, for those of you who are in places like Beaufort and Walterboro, you're getting it right now. It's not over yet for you. The atmosphere there is largely untapped. In fact, the wind shift is just now getting through there. So there may be some strong winds coming through the Beaufort area, coming through, coming through there here in very short order. And we want folks to be, prepared for that possibility. There's no warning out for Beaufort, but that is something that we're going to need to keep an eye on. Now, this is a new warning that just got issued by the Weather Service in Charleston. And this is for, all right, so this has actually been, let's see here. We've actually had a warning upgraded here for, okay. So first, let's talk about this, because this warning in Colleton has been upgraded to 70-mile-an-hour winds. So 70-mile-an-hour wind, damaging wind, considerable damage possible with this thunderstorm. As it and possibly some quarter-size hail too. This is moving southwest at 25. And it's around Ritter Lodge, moving southwest at 25. There's a new warning out that includes the town of Hampton. Gets a good bit of Jasper County, gets a good bit of those areas, but Ridgeland, Allendale, Sylvania, Hampton, Yemassee, Lake Warren State Park, and I think some of this is actually getting now into Georgia as well. So we're starting to see warnings from this line begin to enter Georgia. This is the most dangerous part of the storm here right now. We have evidence to suggest that 70 miles an hour winds could get to 70 miles an hour, and so that's something that if you're in this area right now, again, well, let's take a peek at that. Again, this is pretty much right getting through Walterboro right now, down 17A and approaching Highway 21, down I-95. Not great. Definitely not stupendous at the moment. And so we're going to need to and we're going to need to keep an eye on that here for the next little bit. And again, we have a considerable tag on this. That's a kind of a higher end severe thunderstorm warning. And so that this will, this is going to continue moving through Walterboro. Let's see if we can't get a few more spots here. This is a city database is letting me down a little bit here. So Hendersonville, Green Pond, getting into Yemassee. Certainly something that you're going to be wanting to watch this very closely over the next little bit. Really not great in that neck of the woods. We could have trees down and power lines down. Let's get the latest storm reports. I'll just put them alongside the radar here. And so, yeah, we have tree and power line down on the 3600 block of Mount Carmel Road, and this is 5 miles northwest of Walterboro. So there has been some damage reported already with this as it continues to move in. Certainly seeing some evidence that this will be definitely a lightning producer, that's for sure. Taking a look at the, there's a lot of strikes here in this box. Basically, Bert, you can see is about 1,800 strikes or so across much of this area. Most of that is concentrated around Walterboro right now. So I can't imagine that is too much fun. Walterboro to Williams here. I can't imagine that you're having a good time right now, but it will come to an end, and it'll get better. Meanwhile, we have the wind shift that's headed towards Beaufort. Coastal areas here, Hilton Head, Beaufort, you're not in any warnings right now. I don't know that you will end up in one. We'll see how this goes, but I'm not sure that you will end up in a warning in those areas, but we'll keep an eye on it. Things can happen. And again, we're going to stay on here. We're going to stay on here through 10:30, and then when 10:30 strikes, what we're going to do is unless something is absolutely insane, we will get you over to the Carolina Weather Net, which will keep you up to date on any warnings, additional watches, additional concerns. That's fully automated. We'll get you through the rest of the night. So again, watching these, watching this line of thunderstorms and the associated outflow boundaries there. Yeah, that's crashing towards the Savannah River at this point. So Georgia, this is going to become an issue there soon. But again, based on what I'm seeing here, it looks like that the worst of this. Now, we may still see some rain, some showers pop up around Beaufort, but we're not seeing any lightning show up in the Charleston metro. But we still had plenty of wind reports here. So still plenty to write home about. That is for sure. So this is the area of concern here, and the outflow is also headed out ahead of this, and we may have some additional, we may have some additional issues there, but right now, again, it's been a busy day, but we are getting through it, and everything's gonna be all right. So let's, what do we want to look at? I want to show you. Let's look at the wind threat here. And I'm not sure. Configure this real quick because I'm going to tweak the algorithm here slightly, and to go to maybe a more accurate representation of what's happening on the ground. And I may have to just do that. Let's do that, and then let's go back to that. It didn't update. Okay. Anyway, the best risk for damaging winds looks like it's moving south of Walterboro right now. And again, this is an impressive thunderstorm. In fact, we'll take it over to the radar analyst here, and I'll show you kind of what we're talking about here. So this is the Walterboro storm. It didn't kick in. That's unfortunate. That should have kicked in. All right. So CLX, there we go. All right. So let's take a cross section of this bad boy, because this is we reposition it here a little bit, and we may have to look from a couple different radars. We're actually kind of close to the radar here. I may actually have to look from Colombia. Let me get Colombia. Go get CAE here. Let's take a look at this Walterboro storm from there, because it is the Weather Service is noting that this is a pretty impressive thunderstorm, capable of the tops nearing 60,000 feet. So here's the 3D analyst here, and there's a hail core in there too. You can see that bright blue there, kind of in between the freezing, the negative 20 degrees Celsius line, and the yellow line is the 0 degrees Celsius line, and so that's where your hail growth zone is. But you can see that cloud top, that green area pushing up to 60,000 feet. That is a very impressive updraft. That is a very strong updraft, and this is right over, and this is very near Walterboro right now. So again, this is looking from the Columbia radar. Charleston radar is too close. So yeah, this is southwest of Walterboro. I'll kind of tilt the screen here a little bit so you can see. This is so cool. Yeah, so there's Walterboro kind of hiding behind it, and yeah, this is why the Weather Service has the warning that they have on it. That is a very tall thunderstorm capable of producing significant winds. We can look at a velocity cross section here too. You kind of see something interesting here as well. You can kind of see the almost like the downburst there, but you can also see winds going towards the radar and winds going away from the radar at the top of the storm, and that's what's called storm top divergence. And something about and this is useful to show how intense an updraft is, because when that air is flowing up, it hits something called the tropopause. That's where the stratosphere starts. And so it has to spread out. And so when you have it spreading, so when you have the clouds and the precipitation spreading out super fast, and over a short distance, like we're seeing here, that is that's a sign that you have a very mature, very strong thunderstorm. And it certainly appears that, and in fact, the hail risk, the hail risk is increasing in this storm. We were just looking at that here a second ago. We'll go back to that. We'll just look at this in 3D for another minute here. That hail core right here, the Weather Service is just up to the hail potential to $half size through here. So yeah, this is going to be that's pretty nasty, and we'll definitely need to be monitoring that closely. So let's go back to Charleston here. I don't have something blank behind me. Whoops. That is, that's Charleston. So I need to go back, find my Charleston window. We're trying some new things here, and every once in a while I mess it up. So, all right, cool. So here we are. And again, right around Hendersonville, this seems to be the area of greatest concern. We have an observation from Walterboro here. They gusted to 28. That's not too bad. But there's where, down right here in Colleton County, there's I-95, there's 17A. So Hendersonville really taking it on the chin right now, it looks like. This is very, very heavy rain and some hail likely mixing in at this point. We can confirm that by looking at correlation coefficient. And actually, this is actually very telling. We see a little bit of a drop in the correlation coefficient, which tells me that this is not all rain. We typically use this to look for tornado debris, but this is also very helpful for us to see, this is very helpful for us to see where hail is falling, because it will look, because these reds are where everything is very uniform. But when you get into these lighter yellows and greens, this is where we have a mixing of the precipitation types. And so the fact that we are seeing that dropout here indicates that there is some decent hail falling in this. So we're going to try and get a camera from I-95 here. Now we're going to try and get a camera here to put some eyes on what's happening. But yeah, you can see that is definitely hail falling over Hendersonville, very near I-95 right now. So the dual polarization data is very clear on this. And this is looks like this is maybe a little bit of an outflow intersection that's helping to enhance this. So let's take this camera. Yeah, there's your lightning for you right there. Yeah, there's your lightning. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. I'm gonna actually swap this. Let's take this fuller and let's take that a little bit fuller here. And this is south of Walterboro on I-95. And this is mile marker 47. We can actually, if I zoom in enough, yeah, this is James Brierton is genius. This is right. This camera is right where we want it. This is basically right there. Kudos to James for all he does to keep us running here. We'll keep this here. Let me rearrange a couple things. This is intense. This is rather intense, and I'm going to swap this for this. We'll put the radar up so you can see kind of what we're looking at here. So I got the radar view here, and I've got the thunderstorm there. But look at that. Let's just sit here and watch this storm for a minute. And let's just watch this for a minute. We're going to keep an eye on this camera here. Again, this is I-95 south at mile marker 47. Now, it doesn't tell me which direction it's pointing, but I don't think that matters. You can see that there is some traffic on I-95. They are not having a good time. I can probably guarantee that. We're seeing, looks like we're seeing some people driving around with flashers on. There's a ton of lightning dropping here right now. And again, there is the risk for damaging winds and hail along with this as well. And let's see here. No, that's not. There is definitely a risk for the damaging winds and hail here as we have the handles here. Let's take a peek at the velocities while we're here. Actually, let's look at the hail size, because this is one of the rare storms that we're going to get large hail out of. And right south of Hendersonville is the maximum hail here. And this is the radar estimates, is pretty much right in line with the Weather Service's warning here of $half size. Certainly very impressive. See that, and put that into motion there, and you can see how that's propagated there. So again, I-95, a whole lot of lightning, a whole lot of rain. It looks like cars are starting to stop. We're continuing to. I'm just sitting here watching this with y'all at this point. We're just going to watch this with you, because I'm James is here with me. I don't hear him though.
I think it's on your end, my friend.
James, are you coming through that?
I'm here.
I don't hear you. All right. So I think we just Yeah, we're just keeping an eye on this on the radar here, and bringing James in. Still don't think I can hear him though.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? This is on me. This is my issue.
I thought
I
so.
can't hear
We
you
all
because I
thought
told
so.
Brave Browser not to tell me that I can hear you.
Yeah,
There
we
we
all
go.
thought it. We all knew it was on you. We just figured you'd get there eventually.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
It has, my friend. It has. And you're right. This just watching this lightning. I mean, this is a serious situation, right? We saw just yesterday in South Carolina the power and the danger of lightning, and this is impressive and scary all at the same time. What we're seeing right now on I-95.
Yeah, I think it's a rest area there because you see a lot of cars stopping.
And that's the place to be. That is where you want to be.
Yep.
When a storm like this comes rolling through.
Yeah, no doubt. We're getting. We just saw a report of golf ball size hail in Hendersonville, so that verifies quite nicely with what we're seeing on the radar.
I'm sure you already told our audience this as I was getting logged in here, but this is a considerable thunderstorm. So we're north of 70-mile-per-hour winds. The Weather Service almost took it to destructive, which would have been 80 miles an hour.
Not out of the question yet. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully this thing can weaken. But yeah, James, what I was doing a little slicing and dicing of this bad boy earlier, and we were taking a look at it on the 3D view, and it is a very impressive thunderstorm with a very impressive hail core. I'll take that. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that view actually, and so we're going to keep. We'll keep you up, and we'll keep this here. And again, but yeah, you can see that hail core. Got my mouse over it there. You can see it in the corner of your screen there. That is where the blues are. That is a very, very solid hail core.
What are the heights on your scale there? How high up are we?
Yeah, so the tops of this storm are still about 50,000 feet or so.
Okay, wow.
And the hail is forming between generally about 13,000 and 25,000 feet. So there's your hail growth zone is 0. Is the freezing line is yellow. The negative 20 degrees Celsius line is red. So this is where your hail growth is happening. And this is a very powerful updraft because we're seeing a lot of very high reflectivities still getting lofted 30, 40, 50,000 feet. This is putting it this way, that if you're in an airplane, you're typically cruising 33, 36,000 feet on average. This is getting to heights that even, for those of you of a certain age, you may remember the Concorde, the supersonic jet, and it used to cruise at 55 to 60,000 feet. Well, this is getting to the point where the Concorde would have to steer around it.
Yeah, it's tall. It's
a very tall storm. It's a very impressive storm. And, taking another look at the velocity, you can see kind of the downward, you can see where the almost like the downward push of wind is happening, and also the storm top divergence is very strong, and that means that the air is evacuating from the top because of the strength of the updraft there. So I think we have a new warning out, and
just south of it.
Yeah, just south of there, and I think I'm waiting for it to populate on my screen, but
yeah,
we're gonna have a new warning come out.
And it's interesting to me that the warning that they just put downstream that we'll have on the screen for you momentarily is a base tier severe thunderstorm warning, 60-mile-per-hour winds, 1-inch size hail. They didn't continue on with the considerable, which, considering that they were going to maybe go destructive, is interesting.
Oh no, they did. They continued with the considerable. Yeah, they did. Let me get this. Get this.
There's a warning inside of a warning.
Yeah, there's a warning in a warning. Yo, dog, I heard you like.
Okay, all right.
I heard you like warnings, so I put warnings in your warnings so I can warn you while I warn you. Yeah.
Let me make this bigger. Go ahead.
Yeah, so there's your so here it is, and this includes Yemassee. This is a good bit of I-95 here. This does not include Walterboro, which is good news for Walterboro at least. We'll put the reflectivity on and turn on the live sweep so we can take a look at that. I mean, the lightning on this is impressive.
I know, so I'm leaving that traffic camera up.
Yeah. You don't need the radar data to tell you that the lightning is impressive with this one. I mean, we're continuing to watch it there. The most severe weather is going to be further south of there towards the Yemassee. And this is where we have a new warning for 70-mile-an-hour winds and hail to half dollar golf ball size at this point. Yemassee, Early Branch, Cummings, McPhersonville, Pocatello, Grays, Kusawachi, always my favorite exit, Richland, Exville, and Furman. Now under a considerable tag for pretty destructive, well, not destructive. I mean, they would have called it destructive, but considerable damage is possible.
I mean, we're splitting hairs. This is, in the words of the National Weather Service, one of the most, if not the most strongest severe storms we've seen all day, and it's 10:30 at night. Like, we've used up so much energy in the atmosphere, and this thing is like going out with a swan song.
Yeah, and well, and another thing that I was looking at, James, was the Cape, and you're still, we're still dealing with 3,000 to 4,000 joules of Cape here, so there's still plenty of atmosphere to work out before it's all said and done. If we, looking at the temperatures to the south of this, it's we're still in the 80s with dew points in the mid 70s. So
there's a lot of moisture, a lot of energy just cooked up there, waiting to be released. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
kind of how we all felt after days of heat, right? We were like, somebody get me out of this, and this is what the atmosphere is doing. It's like,
the atmosphere. This is how the atmosphere regulates itself.
Yeah, it has a panic attack.
Yeah. So again, there's a concern for Hendersonville right now for enhanced damage. I think that's the main concern. We are starting to see this. In fact, this just got upgraded to, oh my goodness, this got upgraded to 1.75 inches. This is golf ball size hail, 70 mile an hour wind gusts. They just upped the hail size on it again.
So again,
still 70.
Yeah, we're real close to that. What is destructive tier? Destructive would be like the worst severe thunderstorm warning they could possibly issue.
If they do a destructive, it triggers the phone.
2-inch. I thought considerable triggered the phone. Anybody getting wireless emergency alerts? Okay,
no,
well, either way, but 2 inches is where that would kick in, right?
Yeah.
So
I think I got to go back and look at the chart. Yeah, go check that. Yeah, because that again. We're splitting hairs, and between the both of us, we don't have a lot to split. So
it's true.
So one thing to note is that we are past 10:30, but we are going to stay with this because of the incredible nature of this storm. And again, Walterboro, you are no longer in a severe thunderstorm warning. You still have some downpours around, and you still have some thunder and lightning. But the greatest concern for damage right now is around Hendersonville, South Carolina. It's down I-95, down 17A. We'll zoom in. Unfortunately, this thing doesn't necessarily always give me all the cities. Let me go to...
I will add, while you're doing that you're correct. A destructive tier is where the wireless emergency alert goes off, not for considerable.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not here to armchair quarterback the National Weather Service, but when you think about I-95 and all those travelers out there, I hope people know what they're about to drive into. I hope they pull off into this rest area.
Yeah, and I'll give the phone makers a lot of credit. They're doing a good job now of putting severe thunderstorm warnings in front of people proactively. They're doing a great job of that. But yeah, right around Hendersonville, you can see that even that tight reflectivity gradient there. Nothing really like spinning per se, but it is just very, very heavy. Again, looking at the hail size, I think the hail sizes are starting to come down on it a little bit. But yeah, there's your reported golf ball size hail on Mewville Road. So that just populated in the system there, and we're going to have more of these reports. Again, it takes time for the meteorologists at the Weather Service to key them in, QC them, and get them out, and they get them out as quickly as possible, and God love them for it. They have a very difficult job, and this is nasty around Hendersonville right now.
We've got some chats and comment asking us where are we? And so this one particular storm that we are really zeroed in on right now is on I-95, folks, kind of just north of Savannah, Georgia. We're still in South Carolina by a county or two. But if you've ever driven between Savannah and say Charleston, we're smack dab in the middle of that stretch of I-95 between I-26 and Savannah, Georgia.
Yep.
Is where we are.
Yep. And again, I can drill in. This is around exit 38, exit 42. So if you've ever been down I-95, this is where 21 and 17A come together. And again, it's very close to again, we're kind of in a rural spot, and it's also worth noting we're right next to the radar here.
Mm-hmm.
So the velocity data, what we're seeing on velocity is increasingly a good representation of what we're seeing on the ground, number one. And number two, we really hope that this doesn't get too close to the radar with a golf ball size hail. That would not be great. They just replaced the dome on it. It looks beautiful.
We don't want dings on the car. We don't want dings on the radar. We don't want the radome to actually look like a golf ball with dings on it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I want to point out, if I may, Jared, because we've got this line of severe storms. All right. If you widen out, it goes all the way from Augusta, Georgia, down towards where we are here on 95. So we do have a line of severe thunderstorms, and we do want folks in that area, in the greater Savannah River area to, be inside and not be outdoors as this line comes through. But look at the outflow boundary on that radar return. That is what's kicking up all of this energy and storms. I mean, that is clear as day thanks to our proximity to the radar.
Yeah, no, it's been, we've been tracking it all night. We had some shelf clouds earlier that were absolutely spectacular coming through Charleston. Just absolutely spectacular shelf clouds coming through. So again, there's that outflow boundary. It's actually kicking out another one here, which is kind of interesting. So we'll keep an eye on what that ends up doing.
I mean, Charlotte today saw multiple rounds of outflow boundaries colliding over uptown Charlotte. It was still producing storms. I was like, what energy is left?
Yeah, there's still and again, when I'm looking at the mixed layer energy around Charleston, there's definitely still a lobe of it hanging around. So we'll see. I mean, this is also being aided by an upper low, and upper low weatherman's woe, right? So and that's a big reason why we're seeing these move from northeast to southwest. Kind of a weird setup.
Yes,
it's not usual, but it is the way it is. So
again, we've been cooking for days, and that cap coming off, and it was just like putting on a show.
Yeah, no, there was. The capes were still. I mean, there's still 4,000 capes in Georgia, in parts of Georgia. In fact, that I don't know if you saw, but the severe thunderstorm watch got extended all the way into Atlanta, and let's show everybody the severe thunderstorm watches. Let's just do that real quick.
Sure.
While we're here, and I will switch to the proper scene.
We live here now. I mean, I like the weird little remnant over 85 in North Carolina.
Yeah, I can't say that I've ever seen a discount.
I'm not sure what's going on there.
I don't know. I don't know if that's okay. It's fascinating. Let me check another source just to make sure.
No, it's there. It's been there. They kindly took Mecklenburg out, so it's disconnected from the rest of it.
It is a discontinuous severe thunderstorm watch.
But I mean, we have strong to severe storms still in Virginia. We have a storm prompting a special weather statement over Iredell County in North Carolina. So I guess it's intentional, but it's very isolated.
Yeah, it is a little strange, but we'll see. Again, we don't want to give up too soon on these, but yeah, this is it's just impressive. Again, that's looking at the loop from the last 3 hours. We can see how that cold pool formed and just wham right through Colombia, right down into we had two clusters merging here, and that was something that the Storm Prediction Center called out hours ago was going to happen, and enhanced damage resulting from that, and that certainly appears to be the case there. But we're seeing the watch getting slowly trimmed back. Again, we're keeping it for the Tri-County area. We're keeping it for Columbia is still in it for the time being. There may yet be some other instances, but overall, James, over South Carolina, it feels like that there has been a weakening trend. It is interesting to see these storms continuing to fire in Virginia. They hadn't been holding on, but it looks like they're trying to hold on a little bit more now. So that is certainly something interesting. It's an interesting wrinkle there that we'll have to keep an eye on. It didn't rain a ton in Charleston itself, so
that is interesting.
I don't know that we had the cell split, so I don't know that we're going to have I don't know that we can totally rule out something popping overnight. Maybe not severe, but certainly something loud.
The National Weather Service message.
I mean, that is certainly where our Carolina WeatherNet will
Mhm.
help. Keep an eye on things during that overnight hour.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
I'm actually, you just mentioning, Jared, how the Weather Service goes through and quality assurances all of the, storm reports and things. And I was just looking at the backlog of them queued up in our system for Carolina WeatherNet. And you can just see it. Look at them all on the right hand side. They're just parsing through right now. So we'll maybe leave this up in a window too here.
yeah, that is still quite a sell. That is really over, pretty much smack dab over Yemisi now. It cannot be a good time in Yemisi. That is, yeah, that's no joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no joke there. I'm taking a look at some additional radar data, looking at, again, I can't really see the echo tops from Charleston. I have to go to Columbia to do that now.
They're too close, but the storm is so
close.
high you can almost see it
Yeah.
without a problem.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
It's too close, which is the issue. So we need Columbia for it, and there's still like I'm just doing a little bit more slicing and dicing here. Give me just a second, and I'll do another slice. But yeah, I mean, it is still a pretty impressive. Still a pretty impressive updraft here. I mean, let me take my 3D again, and yeah, I mean that's 40,000 feet up, and you have 45 dBz over 40,000 feet. That's usually pretty good. This is getting close to 50. That's still a very intense thunderstorm. So there's it sounds like that there are there's a report of a possible tree on a house in Colleton County.
We had one of those today in Cleveland County, North Carolina.
Yep. And yeah, that's not fun. That's not good.
No, yeah. Here's the storm report for the tree in the house.
Oh yeah, that's from earlier. Yeah, in Richland County.
Oh, that's a different one. Yeah, there's actually a couple different ones.
There's a few of them.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
there's going to be a few of them today. But yeah, I mean, this is the main. This is 70 miles an hour. Still a possibility. Golf ball size hail. Right around Yemisi. And see, now I think the hail threat is going to be coming down over time, but we'll see. That storm keeps pulsing up and down and up and down. Really curious to see what the velocity data looks like, so we'll do that. Yeah, we're right at the radar site at this point. In fact, there's a little convergence signature north of Yemisi. This is not a tornado. This is literally an updraft winds converging there. So that's you have a. Actually, no, that's a downburst. Excuse me. Sorry. I have my greens and my reds mixed up. That's actually a downburst signature right there.
So that is something to be concerned about.
Oh, no, it absolutely is. It is something to be concerned about regardless, right? This is the wind pushing out. If the greens are going toward and you have the reds going away, and this is basically the winds, this is basically the column of air crashing out.
Yep. Let's see, that's right north of Yemisi?
Yep.
Okay.
So again, this is and it's very possible that we could be seeing the storm tops collapsing there, and when that happens, that's when you can actually maximize your damaging wind threat.
Yeah, here's the closest camera we have. It's not exactly in the downburst.
Yeah, mile marker 38. Yeah,
just it's one of the northern exits in Yemisi, but just south of the downburst.
Yeah, it's but it's pretty much right where the core of that storm is headed too. So let's keep that one there for a minute, because I think that's a good look at what they're dealing with. And
it's on 95, so it's left of 17A, but it is kind of like in line with where your 17A is, just north of the Y in Yemisi. I think is where this camera's at.
Yeah,
Um,
that's nuts.
You mentioned this earlier, Jared, but I will also reiterate to folks as we come up to the 11 o'clock hour, our Carolina Weather Group is here each and every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, streaming with a new episode of our podcast. This is our episode for this week. I have to just give our shout out, our appreciation to our guest who kindly rescheduled. Brandon Jones is the Catawba River Keeper. We were going to talk with him about which waters to swim in, which waters not to swim in, things he's seen after Helene. So we've rebooked him for later in July, very understanding the fact that we needed to accommodate these severe storms tonight. So we did preempt our regular episode, but I hope you guys get subscribed. So when we bring that episode to you here in a couple of weeks, you'll be able to learn all about those waters. I suggest you check your local river keeper out on social media or on our website, because they've already got a couple waterways that they're advising not swimming in because the E. coli levels are too high.
Not good.
Not good.
E. coli is not our friend. So
nope.
Yeah, this it looks like there's a little bit of lightning popping around Beaufort with some of those storms. But again, this is the main show in town at this point.
Yeah, which we have in the top right view for anybody just joined. Wow, there's so much lightning.
Yeah.
So much lightning.
Yeah, the core of this storm, I think, is about to go over this camera.
We will stay with this camera so long as this camera stays with us.
Yeah, exactly. And again, we've had cases where we've had a lot of folks we had folks who had power out that didn't even have a storm come through. They just had an outflow boundary come through. I lost power a couple times. My battery backup stayed up. The stream stayed up. So that was really great.
Definitely everyone's just watching me play with the aspect ratios.
That's fine.
Sorry, y'all. I was trying to get you a good view, and I'm probably making it worse, so I'll stop now.
Yeah, let's. No, I think we're good here.
But we had a gustnado at one point in South Carolina today.
Mm-hmm.
You were talking about just the pure force of the outflow winds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that was in. I want to say that was in Horry County, maybe.
I was going to say Conway. So
Conway, yeah, that sounds about right.
This is the 100th hour of streaming today we've done, so I don't remember.
Yeah, and that actually makes sense because
it rode the outflow, right?
It rode the outflow and the sea breeze.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it kind of makes sense.
Is that one of the reasons why National Weather Service in Charleston had a warning for Charleston County and a couple other places out ahead of the rain, because they're like, by the time the outflow collides with the sea breeze, this thing is just going to pop off.
Oh, it was just the outflow. It wasn't even the sea breeze at that point. It was just the outflow. Yeah. It was just the outflow. The outflow itself was causing problems. So we have somebody in the chat who's from Ridgeland right now. And so I've got Ridgeland up here. The outflow is clearing Ridgeland right now. So so your winds are already going to start. And we already have that report. Plenty of lightning in the distance, very windy, no rain yet, and that makes sense.
But hella wind.
Hella wind for sure.
Yeah.
And that makes sense.
I would like to know what a Munchie Keys food truck experience is.
That sounds pretty great. We may have to check that out at some point. But yeah, this is what you're seeing to your north in Ridgeland. This is what you're dealing with. I'm not surprised that you can see the lightning from Guyton. It does not surprise me in the slightest. There's a whole lot of lightning to be had. When we zoom out here, when I just zoom out, looking at just the Carolinas and Georgia, we have over 10,000 lightning flashes. It's the whole thing. It's a Christmas tree. It's a meteorological Christmas tree at this point.
And I don't want to distract from the considerable thunderstorm we're tracking, but there's a special weather statement over Charlotte again. And I said it before. I'm like, I don't know what energy is left in Charlotte. We got worked over 2 or 3 times, and yet here we are.
Yeah, no, we can actually. I'll take us over.
It's okay. You got bigger fish to fry than
we got bigger fish to fry, but I also
Lake Wiley.
But this is that storm right here on the terminal Doppler.
I bet you it's messing up the airport for the second or third time today.
Probably. I'm sure that they have an airport. Whoa, that's interesting.
Oh, hello.
Oh, Hello.
Can you put it into motion? I want to see if it's
Yeah.
spinning or outflowing.
Maybe just or a glitch.
Or
Whoa! Look at that. Yeah, that's
is that a downburst?
might I don't know. It's down radial. It might be.
I don't think it's rotating.
No, it's just.
I'm gonna hop in GSP's.
Yeah, just
Chat.
see what GSP has to say on the subject. But yeah, I just think that's interesting. We'll get back to let's get back to our considerable storm. This guy is still rocking and rolling right over Yemassee at this point, and I mean, this is you don't need my radar data and my lightning data to tell you that there's a fuck ton of lightning. I am sorry. It's been a long day.
The president did it once this week. Jared's done it once this week.
Yeah.
I think we're all level set now.
Yeah. So anyway. Oh, sorry, James. And this is why I don't work in television.
Yeah, it's true. We're not going to get fined. We might get angry comments.
Yeah. Or we might get funny comments. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe nobody's actually listening.
Apologies to small ears if they were still up with you at 10:50 at night.
Yes,
I know my small ears are. So
I am so sorry, guys. That's just there's a there's a lot of lightning. You can see the 1,200 strikes or so just around Yemassee in the last 15.
we will be clipping that into a YouTube short, but we will add a sound effect.
I'm sure we will. But anyway, so again, right here, this is getting close to where 95 and 17 merge. For those who have not traveled I-95 in South Carolina, U.S. Highway 17 and I-95 merge for about 30 miles or so until it reaches Ridgeland.
I like the frontage road because I can't tell you how many times the frontage road has saved me from I-95 backups.
Yeah, no, the frontage road there is great. I completely hear that, and again, there's the outflow boundary. We're very close to the radar site here. We're seeing, we're very, very close to the radar site. And so that definitely produces. In fact, this is going to get on top of the radar site. And one thing to note is that this may actually start to look weaker, but that's just because heavy rain around the radome will attenuate the beam and make it look weaker. So this may look like on reflectivity that it's weakening, but I promise you that it's very likely not. The radar site is roughly right here where my mouse is.
And I know I'm supposed to talk and engage with you. I'm still staring at Charlotte.
I don't blame you. No, it's crazy up there.
I don't think it's rotating. I think it's just some sort of downburst or collapsing something.
Well, there's a 60 dBz on that, so I mean, heck, it might be producing hail. Who knows? I mean,
it actually might be producing hail. That special weather statement over Lake Wiley.
Yeah.
Yash. If you ask the terminal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've got the terminal up on another screen here, but yeah, looks like we have a new warning too. Looks like they've so again, I think the other things to call out here is that it's summer. A lot of people in Hilton Head, a lot of people around Beaufort County area. You are not in any severe thunderstorm warning. It looks like at this point, the worst of this is going to stay to your northwest. And so the Weather Service they have extended the warning. Now there are parts of Beaufort County that are caught up in this, out by Sun City. But here's Bluffton here. There's your warning polygon. Sun City is just up the road here on 278. It's one of the first places that's out there when you get off of I-95. So there you go. It's so again, I think the worst of it stays to the west of Hilton Head. Bluffton, you're a little closer for comfort, but you're not in the warning. And again, this is continuing to now really cross the Savannah River into Georgia, where the severe weather threat is going to persist into Georgia much of the night. This is not the only game in town as far as convection goes. We have a lot of it in Alabama. We have a lot of it in Georgia. You can see it from the Charleston radar here. So it's not exactly close to the Charleston radar here at this point. If I put my measurement tool on here, we're looking 22,000 feet up into the storm, and that's pretty. Those are pretty stout cells.
Tall storms. If it was daylight and you were up on a high with over the tree line, these are the type of storms you'd be able to see towering.
Yeah, I mean that
miles
is
away.
Oh yeah, that is no joke. There for sure. But again, by far, the storm that is most concerning remains over Yemassee. Continues to carry with it a golf ball size hail threat. Let's slice and dice it again.
Okay.
Let me get a fresh slice of our Yemassee storm. This is right over. It's getting right over Sheldon here, and it is. Well, let me take this view here, and it's not nearly as impressive as it was. We'll kind of swing around a little bit and show you the tops are still near 50,000 feet.
Yeah,
but I think the hail threat is beginning to diminish. I don't quite see a ton of those 60 decibel, dBz reflectivity there. But I mean, we're still getting. I mean, you're still getting 45, 50 dBz to 40,000 feet. So I mean, this is still a very robust updraft. Looks like there's a little bit of an overhang to it, and when you see that overhang, that's a dry slot generally from rising air. So this is still a stout little guy, little dude.
And the next thing we're going to have to watch is it's slow moving. And so all of this heavy rain has got to go somewhere. And we know already Weather Service is watching Ireland Creek there in Colleton County, which is rising sharply. The basin has about half an inch to an inch of rain so far in. And so on top of watching the wind, the rain, and the hail, they're also watching flooding potential.
Yeah, and the other thing to keep in mind too is that, again, the steering currents aloft are not impressive. I can actually get us a view of that here real quick. Let me go to the actually, I'm surprised I haven't pulled this out at this point, but we'll talk about the winds aloft, and there's not, these storms are largely being driven by basically storms popping up, collapsing, and then the cold air that rushes in front of it creates that outflow boundary, and new storms go on that, and it's called a cold pool, and that's how those do their thing. This is a look up at this is roughly a look. I got some surface map stuff up here, but like this is a look at the winds roughly 25,000 feet or so. There is a distinct lack. I'll take the satellite off actually to make it a little clearer. There is a distinct lack of wind barbs. Let's look at because we've had a high. We've had an upper high. And the jet stream, the 300 millibar winds are reasonable at 30, 35 knots or so. But when the cold pools slow down, so do the storms. We've noticed in some of these warnings how the forward motion of these has slowed down. So just something to think about too. And we have had flash flooding issues with a few of these storms. I think there's several flash flood warnings out in eastern North Carolina at one point. So yeah, these are going to slow down as the cold pools kind of lose their, they lose their oomph, so to speak. Like you see this new line of storms. Remember that outflow boundary that I was calling out earlier? That one random outflow boundary that was emanating to the east? It looks like it's starting to kick off storms again now, Walterboro into Dorchester County, and those are not moving.
You have arrows or something coming out of Midland on your map?
Yeah. those
Okay.
are that's
I was like, there's something racing out ahead of the storm.
yeah, those are storm path estimates.
It's Lilo and Stitch. That's what.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I can use that. I can use that to project forward, but
Okay.
we are starting to see some of this rain begin to build back.
Yeah.
So,
That's what we saw earlier in Charlotte. I was like, oh my
yeah.
God, it's raining again.
This back building I don't like, but this outflow here and this outflow moving this way, this is giving it this is giving it kind of a forcing function here. We'll need to watch the rain rates here closely. In fact, we can do that. If let's look at the last hour of precipitation here. And I don't know why I set it up to zoom all the way out when I did that. I need to fix that. But you can see when we just look at just the last hour of rain, and this is a composite here, but about 2 inches there, about 1.2 inches in Walterboro, nearly an inch and a half around Yenisei. We've got, I mean, this is just in the last hour. So, again, so understandable that there's beginning to be hydro concerns from this as well. I mean, we're not getting out of this easy.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that I have to kind of emphasize with everybody is that we're not getting out of this very easily today.
No, matter of fact, we look at the storm reports that the Weather Service is turning around right now. I'm just going to read. You stop me when you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Berkeley County's got several trees reported down amongst Corner. We've got in Colleton County near Walterboro, a tree down on Wickman Street, blocking lanes. Emergency manager in Colleton County reports a tree down on Henderson Highway, blocking lanes. We've got in Colleton a tree down on Public Landing Lane. So, yeah, there's a lot going on. There they are.
Yeah. Yep.
And you'll notice they're coming in right behind the storm, right? So as Jared mentioned, it's a compliment.
Thank you. Yeah, I know.
The storm comes, the warnings come, and then behind it, the Weather Service will be verifying as quickly as they can all the storm reports. You're a smart bald guy who talks about weather. I just figured you were Brad.
Hey, you know what? That's beautiful. Yeah. It's a smart bald guy who talks about the weather who 15 minutes ago dropped an F-bomb on the air. So unlike Brad, I would be out of a job.
Munchie Keys Food Truck Experience says it's raining now, and as point of reminder, we know that they are in Ridgeland.
Yes, so here's Ridgeland, and we're very close to the radar. And again, there's heavy rain falling right on top of the radar site. So this is going to look a little bit weaker than it probably is. But there's Ridgeland right there, and we can see that that it's starting to get through there. That rain is going to pick up here pretty quickly there. Let's see. God, the polygons, there's just so many polygons.
There's a lot of polygons.
We have what I call a polyglot.
Polygon sandwich.
Yeah, just a ton of them. Oh, that sounds great right about now.
A polygon sandwich. Okay.
Oh yeah. This part of this balanced breakfast. So again, looks like this. We're definitely seeing this curvature to the outflow. So Beaufort, I'd keep an eye on this because I think this is going to start propagating more to the southeast, based on the way this outflow is trending. We could yet get some heavier rain making it into Beaufort and Hilton Head. Whether this is severe or not, I'm not so sure. But certainly some heavy rain and some lightning becoming a possibility as we get closer to the coast. Oh, this is unfortunate.
What's up?
There's a fire at Waffle House in Barnwell due to lightning.
Oh. No, I mean that could be serious business depending on the nature of that.
Yeah. And I mean, this is I
mean, think about the amount of lightning strikes we have, and think about the one rogue lightning strike yesterday that injured nearly 20 people outside of Colombia on Lake Murray, hospitalizing a dozen of them, right? That was one lightning strike. And look at all these lightning, like the potential. It says right there in the corner, 4,435 strikes. That's a lot of potential impacts to structures and people. And
Yeah. I don't think all of these are hitting the ground. It says strikes. I think flashes is a better way to put it
Okay.
for these. For this data, this is mostly this satellite derived data, but still, like, there's a lot of the electrical activity is
Yeah.
no joke, and I'm starting to see that outflow bow out, and it's starting to go. It's starting to come back eastward. Interesting.
Yes, indeed. It is 11 o'clock.
Did
We're
it-
watching Carolina Weather Group. Endless severe weather coverage.
Yeah, because these things just don't want to calm down. I will say this is that the severe thunderstorm watch. Let's update everybody on the watches real quick. The severe thunderstorm watch um, has now been canceled for Charleston and Columbia, Greenville, and then there's that little
I don't know what that is.
the little watch that could, a little bit of watch. It's very disjointed now, but
At this point, I think it's intentional.
yeah. But it continues for Colleton and along the Savannah River. So just updating on that, the fact that the Weather Service is, if you're in Columbia, if you're in Charleston, the risk for severe weather has ended for you, and then you can go to bed. It might be loud. It might get loud again tonight in some spots, but at this point you can go to bed, and you'll be okay. So, let's see.
It's probably about time I change our top right camera to something a little further south, but we're still getting plenty of lightning.
Still plenty of lightning, but yeah, there's we may want to start looking
I
more
can go
at
Ridgeland is our next.
Yeah, Ridgeland's going to be our next stop here. That's mile marker 22, mile marker 21 in those areas here. We're heavily zoomed in on Ridgeland right now, but you can see that hang on, let me get my big head out of the way. This batch of thunderstorms continuing to propagate, I think, a little bit more southeasterly now.
I do have a camera right where I-95 and 17 come together. I can go there too. Kings Highway.
Yep. Yeah, so that's mile marker 30. That's probably closer to the storm core itself. I think the storm core is actually moving away there at this point, but
I could answer this question by looking at velocity myself, but for anybody else who's seeing it on your reflectivity, there's a little bit of a hook there on the end. Anything to that, Jared?
no, I don't think so.
I didn't think so either, but I'm here to be the audience's voice.
Yeah, absolutely. And really not much. I mean, when I'm looking, I don't see anything that's like super tight. There may be a little bit of low level spin, although that's not even down radial. I mean, this is more like this is another. It might be, honestly, that might be another downburst.
Wouldn't be the first time tonight.
Towards and away again. Like if let me telestrate it, I can. That actually makes it a little bit easier to talk about. But yeah, that's going towards the radar. That's going away from the radar. So when we think about rotation, we simplify it when we talk about the greens and the reds are next to each other. Well, they need to be next to each other in a certain configuration. It needs to be down beam, basically. You need to have red next to green, depending on which way, or green next to red, depending on which way you're looking from the radar. But that's more of a downburst signature. So again, I'm not too concerned. But that could be damaging wind. I mean, again, this is right at the edge of the warning here, and that could be problematic. So again, these severe thunderstorm warnings continue. I do see that the Weather Service has backed off the hail size and the wind gust potential, which is good. 60 miles an hour and generally at an inch or less now. That's a good sign. Hopefully we're starting to work some of these out. But again,
so the Weather Service in Raleigh, which has held on to that little appendage of a watch, does in fact have it up intentionally. They're worried about, as you mentioned, Cape and instability that still remains in that region.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, they've been pretty consistent on that message today too.
It's just funny, we don't normally see like a little remnant.
Yeah, it's not something we're used to. You know,
I like how your computer system actually shows it kind of like.
Yeah, as it just gradually just shrinks. But yeah, this is the last 3 hours here.
I'll tell you one thing from Charlotte today. The day job at WCNC is right there on Billy Graham Parkway by the airport, and so we have lots of airplane noise all the time. But they don't normally go right over the station. We're just not really lined up with the runway.
Yeah.
But as I was leaving work today at a little after 8 o'clock, we still had storms to the south of Charlotte, and so there was a flight from DC, and they were taking off to the south. And as I was going out to my car, the thing could have like crop dusted me in the parking lot. And I was like, planes don't normally come right over the parking lot where we are at Billy Graham and Tryon. But they took off and they went vertical and they just banked left to try to get, okay, we have to take off going south, but there's a wall of storms in front of us. We're going to get north as fast as we can.
Yep.
And I just walked outside. I was like, where is that going? I actually thought something was wrong because we had a Charlotte-bound flight leaving Vegas today that took off and immediately went back because it had smoke coming out of an engine. And I saw this plane take off and do a bank, and I immediately grabbed my app. I'm like, where does it go? Oh, okay, it's just avoiding the thunderstorm.
Yeah, you'll see. You'll see pilots do that, but again, you don't want to fly through it. That's for sure.
They were coming out of a ground stop. They wanted to get things moving.
Yeah, and so they're gonna get things moving. That's for sure. Oh my goodness! If we had taken that in a 757, it's like a rocket. It's completely overpowered.
They're going for a ride right now.
Oh yeah. So let's so again we're looking at the wide view right now. I mean, we still have new storms that have popped in the last hour. That near Winston-Salem, near Louisville, producing lightning, producing special weather statements for 50-mile-an-hour winds. We have a couple of these. And that ones are 40-mile-an-hour winds around Statesville. So we're not done yet here. In fact, there's a new severe thunderstorm warning on the Virginia-North Carolina border.
Knock, knock, knock. Can I come in, North Carolina? It's me, more weather.
Yeah, so this is, and this speaks to exactly why the Weather Service in Raleigh is keeping this part of the watch alive.
Yeah, and we mentioned a lightning strike that we saw in chat was at a Wawa House allegedly. Campbell, Virginia, a shed struck by lightning caught fire.
Yeah,
and lightning, we should say, not even a criteria for severe thunderstorm warning. No amount of lightning is going to issue a severe thunderstorm warning. Only hail and wind and tornadoes can issue warnings. Lightning just comes. But I mean, like, all of these storms have an electrical threat.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and we're going to start watching that little thunderstorm over Lake Wiley, there south of the airport. Mostly in South Carolina now.
Yeah, it's mostly in South Carolina. We'll take you over there real quick, actually, just for giggles and other things.
Thank you for not cursing.
Oh yeah, no problem. Taking a look at the terminal Doppler here in Charlotte. Again, this is very close to the airport there. We can see that that storm is, and with the usual caveats about reflectivity on a terminal Doppler, not looking as
Just going to get a QR code for rants about terminal Dopplers, and we'll just put it in the corner.
Oh, please. Let's not resurface that episode. And if you watch Carolina Weather Group long enough, you know exactly which one we're talking about. There's a few thunderstorms here. There's some lightning strikes. Nothing terribly out of band. But yeah, there is a special weather statement on it.
There is.
For 40-mile-an-hour winds and very small pea-size hail. So, yeah, it's just one of those nights. Did
you see that we have a new mesoscale discussion?
Yes.
So, insider talk, mesoscale discussions come out typically ahead of a watch or like ahead of a watch being continued. It's like jargon to be it's like when you do a math problem and it's like, show your work, right? Jared, we already have a watch. Why do we have a mesoscale discussion on top of a watch?
The Storm Prediction Center will issue mesoscale discussions on top of watches to update the severe weather threat within that watch. Typically, if there's a particular area of concern that they want to call out, they'll do that. We've seen, with Dixie Alley outbreaks, for example, that Storm Prediction Center will actually issue very targeted discussions for even individual cells at times that they believe have a chance of producing a destructive tornado. And they're usually right, by the way, which is, just impressive. But yeah, this is normal. We see them, you see them for a variety of things, but yeah, you'll get them within a watch area and to discuss that watch and maybe, potentially allude to a watch being extended downstream at some point. So you learn a lot about it. It's a good insight into what the Storm Prediction Center folks are thinking. They're thinking about how the atmosphere is evolving within a watch area and what could happen over the next couple hours. It's kind of like a short-term discussion. So it's not always about a watch that's being issued. It can be about a lot of other things too.
I've updated our top right camera. We're now in Ridgeland, South Carolina, on I-95 near the airport there.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And we'll go back to the higher resolution look at the radar here, and we'll kind of zoom in. There's Yemassee. There's Walterboro. Got to scroll down a little bit for Ridgeland. Yeah, there's Ridgeland right there, and you've got plenty of lightning flashes. You get plenty of heavy rain. But again, I'm definitely seeing that eastward trend here with this, where this is starting to, that bowing around is starting to push the heavier convection more to the east. And again, we still have warnings in effect here. You're still under a severe thunderstorm warning in Ridgeland. So we want folks to be, on guard for that. That warning goes until 11:30. So we still have that warning there for about 14 minutes. And so that's something that we'll have to watch closely.
The bottom right of that storm where it has that little hook thing that we talked about a little while ago, that seems to be where we're probably still getting some small hail with this storm.
Yeah.
Just on the east side of Ridgeland off of 336 looks to be the state route.
Yeah, certainly possible. Let's look at the max hail product here.
There it is.
Yeah, there's a little something there. I think the 1 inch might be a little overdone. No, I mean it's right in line with what the warning has. But yeah, just to the east of Ridgeland, and again, this is along where those updrafts are going to be strongest now, because again, this is where, keeping in mind that this is where the outflow is coming through. And we'll go back to I'll go back to the Charleston radar here real quick, the high resolution look at it, and we'll switch over to it. You can definitely see the evidence of the updrafts beginning to get stronger there. I'm looking way up in the storm, and you can see where that earlier hail core was, and you can see how that gradually weakened. But yeah, it definitely seems like, as we go all the way down and we kind of rock this back and forth, definitely strikes me that we are seeing a little bit more easterly development. And again, the winds aloft, at about 36,000 feet or so, are out of the northwest. So that will propagate some of this, that with the storm motions that we've been seeing today. But again, I think it's a situation where it's going to follow the outflow boundaries, and it's going to follow the cold pool is kind of the rule of thumb here. So that's a big reason why the watches and warnings. I mean, they've extended it recently into Savannah, the warnings there, and the watch for that matter. Most of this is moving that, but these are really the two main storms here. And I think, James, at 11:30, I think this is probably a good time for us to bow out in about 10 minutes. I
agree.
So, again, we're going to, continue to talk about this for a little bit longer. I'm going to take it little further here. I mean, Ridgeland, you're right in it right now. I mean, this is go back to the live scan view. I mean, this is you're right in it. You're right in the thick of it, and this is continuing to move southwest, about 20, 25 miles an hour. And again, you can't rule out the risk for a damaging wind gust or two still with this. I'm not hearing much else right now. But again, what we are seeing across the Carolinas overall, for the most part, again, we have that area that's in northern North Carolina near Raleigh, near the Triad, where there's still the risk of severe weather. That severe weather threat continues for the next little bit. I'm be curious to see if they coordinate another watch there. That's the mesoscale discussion I'd be interested in seeing, honestly, is if they decide to, if they let it go, or if they decide to coordinate a watch or a local extension in time for that watch. So I'm going to keep an eye on that too. Yeah, it's just so weird seeing the little watch fragment that could. But yeah, we'll be watching that. But again, for the Carolinas, the greatest risk for severe weather, which is with this main thunderstorm complex that's moving, that's now well into Georgia. This is the main risk area for severe weather. It is exiting the Carolinas. We still have this cluster of thunderstorms near Beaufort. That'll stay, should still stay west of Beaufort, the worst of that. And again, we'll be interested to see here. Because also in the next, within the hour, we'll have the expiration of the original severe thunderstorm watch. But we'll have any extensions to that covered for you on the Carolina Weather Net here. We are coming up on 11:30, and we said we were going to be out of here at 10:30. So we stuck around a little bit. Just got really weird there.
I told my wife I'd be home for dinner hours ago.
Yeah. So,
do you have the SPC outlooks for the next 2 days? If not, I do.
I can get them. Yeah, I can get at least tomorrow. Let's look at this is today's outlook.
Today. Yeah, and that's been obviously scaled back earlier today for anybody who didn't see it. That enhanced risk was all the way up into Charlotte and the Piedmont.
Yeah, and while the banner is going to say day 1, this is actually day 2, but we do have a marginal again tomorrow.
We do. That was going to be my point.
Yeah, and
on day 3.
And on day 3. So I mean, we're
day 2 and 3 are very similar outlooks. Yeah.
So we're not out of it. By any stretch.
Hopefully less of a threat than it was today. But
usually with it's a marginal, it's much worse. If you watch Carolina Weather again,
it's one of our running jokes.
Long-time fans, marginal days are usually our worst.
He's being facetious, but marginal is the lowest tier. But they oftentimes in the Carolinas have a history of overperforming. Yeah. Although, I mean, let's just give people a point of comparison. Today was a tier 3 out of 5. Marginals 1 out of 5. So can't be any worse than today.
Oh, it can.
Knock on wood.
It can, but I don't have any wood up here. It's all plastic particle.
Looking at a glass desk.
Yeah, that's not good. But yeah,
I don't have any new storm reports.
Nothing lately. We got a continuation of the warning. To the south here. I think we're starting to get the warnings into Georgia, which is why at 11:30 we're going to we're starting to get okay, so all right, so we are going to see one of these warnings expiring at 11:30. They're going to let this go. Yeah, they're going to let the it hasn't updated on my screen yet, but they are going to let the warning go. That includes Ridgeland. Yemisi, Ridgeland, Sheldon, Kusawachi. No, excuse me. I stand corrected. The Ridgeland warning continues. Oh no, it doesn't. That doesn't either. Sorry, y'all. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot of polygons on top of each other.
A lot of polygons right now. Yeah. So Ridgeland, you are continued in the warning, but Yemisi, Walterboro, Hampton, Estill, yeah, that's done. Again, it won't update on this screen just yet. This software keeps it on. If they expire it, they keep it on until it is gone. But
yeah.
But for all intents and purposes, this warning is done around Yemisi. So that's done. So the only warning now on the board in South Carolina is associated with the main thunderstorm complex here. That's not what I wanted to show you. So it's this guy right here, and this is mostly in Georgia. There's a little bit of Jasper County, a little bit of Beaufort County still in it, but yeah, most of this is making its way to Georgia. There's your outflow boundary. This is going to get into Savannah soon, and this could cause some damage. This still has the capability of producing some damage. So, things that we have to continue to watch.
Well, another form of impact that we haven't spoken about is power outages. And so a friend of the show, Tim Pounds, just texted from outside the Augusta area, kind of over towards Aiken. Lightning strike, power's out.
Yep.
And so I just pulled up the Duke Energy map. There are other providers, Duke Energy being one of the largest, right? So you can see we've got pockets where thousands of Duke Energy customers are without power.
Yeah.
Some of those are back here on the south side of Greenville, 2,000 or 3,000 Duke Energy customers. That could be multiple people in a home. Essentially, one home, one business is a customer. Spartanburg's got about 1,000 outside the Charlotte metro. So we've got about 3,000 in Matthews. We've got another 3,000 here in Fort Mill, South Carolina. This could be wind. This could be lightning. We've got about 1,000 in Greensboro. We saw as I began to zoom in, about another 1,000 on the south side of Raleigh, and it looks like Goldsboro's got it too. So just wanted to flash those on the screen because certainly when I widened it out, you can see 10,000, 11,000. We've got north of 20,000 Duke Energy customers just in this sampling without power, and that probably means without air conditioning.
Yeah, and now granted, while tomorrow should not be as hot as today was,
I would be more than happy if
it's still
second coming of those hellish temperatures didn't return.
Yeah. But yeah, you can see there's still a ton of lightning. There's lightning even in the stable stuff. That typically that can happen. Doesn't necessarily mean it's hitting the ground, but it's flashes.
There's lightning in the lightning.
Yep. Yo, dog, I heard you like lightning, so yeah.
Here, have some more. You'll get a lightning, and you'll get a lightning.
Yep. It's Oprah distributing the charge separation. So, yeah. In fact, that we just there is actually now a severe thunderstorm warning that goes into North Carolina. I know you can't see it on here, but yeah, this takes in Yanceyville, out of AKQ. So yeah, this is we're not totally done yet. It's also worth noting this is looking from Charleston, and I can still see the cloud tops here. If I measure from the radar here now, this is kind of cool. Well, I didn't mean to do that. What happened? Oh no! It's so far away that it's so far away that it just doesn't show it anymore. But it stops at 50,000 feet. Those are tops over 50,000 feet. That the Charleston radar is picking up, and it's so far away that actually my measurement tool stops there.
Yeah, it's like no.
So, just to give it. I thought I had done something wrong. No, it literally is.
There's that.
Storm's firing. So, we are just about there. Again, you want to go through? Let's go through storm reports one more time, and I can kind of
all of them.
Well, not all of them, but I can show you a progression of them. Look at the progression of them over time. You can see how things. And
that's just 3 hours.
Yeah, it's just 3 hours. Yeah, this is over the last 3 hours, and you can see the just the progression of these as these storms move south. Hail reports, wind reports. A lot of trees down. I think we may discover more damage tomorrow. We want folks to, we'll see what happens. And again, they're a more marginal threat tomorrow, but that does not mean that, that we won't see more of that. So
yeah,
it certainly has been a very busy day for both of us, in various media outlets. But I think at this point, I think we're in a good spot where we can go ahead and let our coverage go.
Well, our Carolina Weather Net will pick it up next here on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, we will automatically redirect you. If you're not, please head over to our YouTube channel, like and subscribe, so that our Carolina Weather Net can bring you live radar, live storm coverage, alerts, sky cams, all that stuff throughout the night. It'll be running tomorrow as well too. As we've teased, our members will soon be learning about some additions that'll be coming to that automation. Programming note for you: our guest again tonight, Catawba Riverkeeper. We had to reschedule. Because of tonight's severe weather. So we look forward to bringing you that discussion in July about water safety, clean water, where to swim, where not to swim, but also impacts they've seen along the Catawba River since Helene. And coming your way next week, we'll have an interview with PBS North Carolina. It's hurricane season. You may not know it, but they play a big role in hurricane communication. PBS North Carolina, specifically North Carolina. And I guess you could say the same about SCE TV in South Carolina. Mm-hmm. They are both the voice of your emergency management at the state level. And so we're going to be talking with them a little bit about go behind the scenes. So I hope you'll join us next Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, to learn about their mission, their operations.
Very cool.
And our audio podcast listeners are not going to get 4 hours of severe weather coverage dropped into their feed. So if we do have any Carolina weather groupies in the chat tonight, like Jay from Charlotte, if there's a favorite episode of yours that you think we should drop into the feed, kind of as a make good for this week, let me know. I'm open to considerations.
Yep. Sorry, y'all. That's just the name of the game sometimes.
Sometimes the podcast audience gets things the YouTube audience doesn't. And in this case, the YouTube audience got 4 hours of severe weather coverage with Weather Daddy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Who needs to go to bed now. So both of us do. But yeah, James, thanks for jumping in and helping out. And
thanks for holding down the fort, Jared.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, everybody, thanks to all of you for watching and your storm reports this evening. Very, very helpful. Glad y'all are all right. We'll see how things shake out tomorrow. But for James Bryart and Charlotte, I'm Jared Smith down here in Charleston, South Carolina, wishing you a pleasant evening. Get some sleep. We'll catch you later.